Hey everybody, this is K-Bess, and I play Anna in Lara Croft: Rise of the Tomb Raider. You're listening to The Gaming Outsider.
Hey there, Gaming Outsider listeners. This week it's just Zach and myself, and we're talking about novels based on video game properties. You'll hear some of our favorites, as well as the ones we wish we'd like to read in the future. In news, Bethesda is officially unionizing, which feels like a huge step in the right direction. Finally, you'll hear Zach's impressions of a game called Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder, and I checked out an indie platformer with a sense of humor called Retro Avengers. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. We also have the community on facebook.com/groups/the GoCast, and even a Discord server. You can find a link in the show notes for that. Today is Sunday, July 21st. I'm your host, Scott Clark, and joining me is my good buddy, Mr. Zach Parkerson. What's up, man?
This video call seems so real, like I could touch you.
It's so lifelike.
Yeah,
it's 3D animation.
I forgot all the curves of your body.
Oh my god. My body is a wonderland. If we sound a little bit different, everybody, or if this is your first time listening to The Gaming Outsider, this is not what we usually sound like. I am in Portland, Oregon, and Zach happens to live in the area. So we decided to do a recording face-to-face instead of over the computer, because we haven't done that since E3, 5 years ago?
Right, straight out of Compton, as a matter of fact.
I'm already very excited, dude. This is the first time I've looked you directly in the eye in person.
It feels
over
weird,
a
right? Like looking at you in the eye, I guess.
Yeah.
No computer filter.
Yeah, it's a little weird, and I can't get away with taking my phone and taking a quick look while
I knew you were doing that this whole time. You're not as subtle as you think.
Every once in a while I got to check and see what's going on. But you start talking about Nier or something, I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on Twitter. But dude, it's really good to see you. We spent the majority of the day yesterday together.
Right.
I feel like I introduced you to the world of actual real pinball in the worst way possible.
Right, yeah, I was thinking about this analogy. So we played pinball, 10 hours yesterday?
Probably, yeah.
And I was just thinking about, imagine if you're a 12-year-old middle schooler and you're playing basketball for the first time at the school gym, right? And you're playing it, you're not sinking a lot of baskets, but you're like, this is fun. Yeah. And all of a sudden, Michael Jordan walks in, right? And you're like, oh, maybe he's here to teach me a little bit about pinball. This could be interesting. But no, he just, dunks on you. And he dunks on you. You're like, okay, I guess there's still something to learn here, though. And then 10 hours go by. We have a short Taco Bell break in the middle. But otherwise, Michael Jordan is just ruining your day. Eventually, you're just like, I don't know if basketball's for me.
Oh, I feel really bad. But so just to give everybody some context, Mike and I, about 3 years ago, we decided to do something called Pinball Grand Prix.
Mike Card.
Mike Card, yeah. Mike is actually a close buddy of mine for about 20 years now. And he's a pinball freak like I am.
Yeah.
So
maybe even freakier about it.
Maybe, yeah. So 3 years ago, we decided to do. There's this place here in Hillsboro, Oregon, that it's the biggest arcade I think I've ever seen. I don't think I've ever seen more machines in one place. It's a warehouse.
You're talking about Next Level
Pinball and Museum. Yep.
Because it's known around the country, right?
I think it's the biggest in the country, from what Mike told us.
Yeah.
And it's a very, but they're only open on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, I found out, which is interesting. I just thought it was weird that they're not open during the week.
I guess people don't find a lot of time for pinball fests.
I guess. Well, it's also out in the middle of an industrial park, so it's not really close to a residential area, so you kind of have to make a trip there. But
anyway. Everything's on free play. You just pay one fee up front. It feels like a commercial now.
I know, right? This episode is brought to you by. It's $22, gets you in, and you just play whatever you want. There's a paid section, but it's very, very small.
Right.
They have Injustice,
that
the arcade
weird.
game.
Well, otherwise it's mostly crane games and gotcha stuff, the stuff where you win prizes, but then also Injustice,
which was weird.
I assume it must print out a card afterwards.
It must, but wasn't there another game that had a print your card thing?
But I assume that one must not have. Maybe they still have Injustice cards, and that's why. And then when they run out of them, they'll put it set as a free play or something. That's what it is. I don't know.
But before even before we get to pinball, we played the Tomb Raider light gun game.
Yeah, that sucked.
I thought it was gonna be better than that. But
yeah.
It was really cool. I don't think you saw it, but I think I came and told you about it. I walked past and there was a little girl playing it by herself, and she was wearing a blue tank top.
Right, so she
had a ponytail, and
she was Laura'd out.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cute.
She sounds like the coolest kid there.
I know, right? What else did we play besides pinball? We played some. We tried to find every Western game possible.
We sure did.
So we played. We actually played through Sunset Riders.
Yeah, the whole thing. That was cool.
Yeah,
very racially insensitive, that game. Turns out.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
And then what was the one that was a cartoon?
Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
Cowboys of Moo Mesa.
Yeah, we get it because you play as bulls in the game, so they're cowboys.
Right.
I see what they did there.
And what was the name? There was one that had a name that was like Colorado or something like that.
Colorado, yeah. And there's like, I think the vaguely Asian cow was moo instead of woo, probably.
Oh, I didn't catch that. But then every time you die, you turn into a steak.
And that was a cute touch. I thought that was really good fun. I love the boss designs are cool. There was one guy who was like, he was an anthropomorphic scorpion, but he was riding a scorpion. And I thought that was funny as hell.
I wonder if those like characters or those bosses are actually in the cartoon. I never watched that cartoon.
Yeah, Scott led me to understand that this was a cartoon show.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to watch every single episode of that, obviously, as soon as possible.
What other ones? We played we played some pinball tables that were cowboy themed or Western themed.
We played Gunsmoke.
Oh, we did play Gunsmoke. That game was a lot harder than I remembered it being.
Well, you said the arcade game's harder, right?
It's harder than I remember. It's been over 25 years since I played the original Gunsmoke on NES, but
that game was hard as hell.
I don't like the control scheme. There's like 3 buttons: one to go forward, one to go right, one to go left.
Right. Well, they all shoot forward, but it's either center, left, or right forward, right?
Yeah.
That's
like I feel like I would enjoy that game more if it were. Oh, what was that? What was that game that had like the spinning knob one? Guerrilla Wars.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Where like you could just turn the direction that way. I would be much. I feel like I would be better at it if I used that.
I thought it was funny that it was a 2-player cabinet, but it only had one joystick, and you just take turns.
Yeah, you just take turns.
It's like who can get further in the run.
There was a bunch of them though, weren't there? Like,
were there?
Like, they always said like versus whatever. So it was versus Gunsmoke versus Castlevania. Yeah, and it was just take turns kind of thing.
That's true.
That place is impressive. Oh, you played a Sonic the Hedgehog arcade machine that I didn't know was a thing?
It was just Sonic the Hedgehog 2, but in a cabinet.
Yeah.
Weird.
That was weird. How did it feel playing that with a joystick?
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good. Does not feel right. It messed it all up. But, but it was still Sonic at the end of the day, so therefore better than any Mario game.
Oh, what was the light gun game we played where we sat down and it was like, it could have been in 3D? I don't even know what it's called because it was all in Japanese.
It was like a Japanese arcade machine that they imported. Because even the subtitles were in Japanese.
Right.
Yeah.
But the language was in English.
She looked like she was supposed to be an American character, the chick we were following around in the story. But I don't remember the name of it, but it was, like a turret game where you shoot monster guys.
But we were drawn to it because it had a big, like, warning on it that said, this is PG-13.
It was a hard RPG-13 for violence.
Yeah.
I was
like, we gotta see what this is about. And it's like a turret game. But it did, like, all this stuff, like, when monsters jump out at you, it would like blow a puff of air in your face.
Oh yeah, it was like a 4D effect. And
it had 3D capabilities, but obviously we didn't have any 3D glasses.
Yeah, I don't carry them around with me anymore, obviously.
Yeah. I don't even think I have a pair of them, but
no, who does?
Was there any other like video games? Oh, what was the arc Off the Wall? Remember that?
Oh
game?
Yeah, the old Atari game, right?
I don't know if it was Atari, but it was like 2-player brick breaker game.
Yeah.
But like on the left and right.
So like it looks like Pong, but in the center are bricks you need to break to get to the center. So you have to work together.
It was a cooperative Pong game.
Yeah.
Which was like a really cool idea, but I was done with it after like 4 minutes.
Right. well, it did, every few stages they had you basically just played Pong real quick every few stages. Mm-hmm. So that was something, I guess.
Well, yeah, it was kind of cool. It was like, okay, now you work together. Now you're working against each other.
Right. Yes. Very Splinter Cell conviction of it.
Right.
But yeah, it wasn't very deep.
No. But I just had never heard of that game before. I had heard of like Warlords and obviously Arkanoid and other brick breaker games, but I'd never heard of Off the Wall. It was just like, it's weird that I've never heard of that cabinet, but anyway, the whole thing we started with the story was pinball. Mike and I 3 years ago, being massive pinball fans, decided we wanted to do some kind of competition. So, of course, I made a spreadsheet, as I do, and we just made a list of all the cabinets all the pinball tables we played, put the score in, and then the spreadsheet automatically calculates how many wins each person has, and then it automatically accumulates all the scores total. So we have like a running total of number of wins and number of points, and it just like we're gonna play as many tables as we could for the entire day. I think in 2020, was it 2021?
That's what the sheet said.
At 2021, we played 55 tables in like an 11-hour stretch. And it was just so much fun. And we had planned to do that again, but since you live in the area now, I wanted to include you. I said, hey, you should come out and play with us. And I didn't even think about, the fact that you don't play as nutty as we do and play as much as we do. And
it might be my first time playing pinball since Space Cadet on Microsoft Windows.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But Mike and I were actually...
Or wait, no, because I bought the Boba Fett table for Pinball FX. That was the one time I bought a pinball table.
Well, and I know you probably think that we're both like blowing smoke at you, but we're both serious. Like, you have the natural talent for pinball. Like, I've watched people that don't play pinball, and it's frustrating as crap to watch someone play pinball. And it was not frustrating. It was like fun watching you play it. Because you were picking up stuff very quickly, and
didn't feel like I had natural talent.
Well, but I mean, but then you also let me, like, I was teaching you like how the skill shots work and the lanes and there's just little things about pinball that I don't even think of anymore, just because it's like so second nature. And you were open to that. It was kind of fun introducing you to that. I just wish I wish we had led you into it a little bit differently. Like after that, I know it was kind of. I mean, I hope you had fun. Yeah. Right? And I know, but it wasn't the best experience in terms of making you like pinball. That's like the bad way to... But, like, you feel compelled to, like, practice on your own and
oh, no, like, I feel like I'm done with pinball now.
Do you really?
Yeah, I'm not trying to sound whiny. It's just, like, it's hard to get beat down all day. Like, if you were playing golf for the first time, you didn't even, like, win one hole after 10 hours, I feel like that would feel pretty bad.
No, I get it, and I feel bad because I wanted to make you like it, and I was so focused on the fun I had last time. I wanted to recreate that with me and Mike. Right.
Well, and you should have. I was just the add-on. Right. Or like like Scott, if you tried out Dark Souls and you couldn't get past the first boss after 10 hours. Yeah. I feel like you might be like, okay, I guess I'll just play something else.
Yeah. It sucks. I really wish I had like sent you to go like try some tables on your own first or something. Or
maybe if Pinball FX includes Cactus Canyon, I might jump in.
I wonder if that's on there. No,
because that was a lot of fun. That was probably my favorite table.
That's a very accessible table too. It's pretty fun. So anyway,
they do quick draws in a pinball table. Yeah, right. It's pretty cool.
Oh, what was the one you were playing? Maverick. That one was
a lot of fun. Based on the movie. You had to like make like poker hands.
Yeah. And it had the steamboat that would like pick up the ball.
Yeah,
and,
those. Like, I got to learn how analog and mechanical pinball tables are, and those are that was very cool. There is an artistry to do pinball. Yeah, that I didn't anticipate.
Insane. And if you've ever like looked at the inside of a pinball table, you would not believe all the intricacies of stuff.
Oh, I imagine. Well, I was thinking about that when I was like, how can they trust people to construct them in their shop? I feel like it would be so hard or so easy to mess them up.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's why they like the people at Next Level. They've just got staff that are running around repairing and cleaning machines like throughout the day. I wouldn't even have a clue how to do that stuff. Like, remember the one I actually broke one,
You broke a light off of...
But it wasn't like I wasn't being reckless or anything. I just got a weird bounce, and the ball bounced up and hit, like, the cover off of one of the lights. And then it wound up in, like, one of the ramp trays or whatever.
So you're screwed.
So I was, like, holding the ball, like, while Mike went and got someone, and we just had to, like, let the ball drain. And thank goodness, because I wasn't having a good run. And but
so you did it on purpose is what you're
really didn't do it on purpose, but
I can confirm that the two tables you always hear about as a non-pinballer is Twilight Zone and Addams Family, and they are both very much fun. Yeah, Addams Family is great.
It's a great table.
You take your multi-ball gets locked by Thing stealing your pinball off the table. Yeah, that's cool.
It's really
cool. Crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one of my favorites is actually the last one we played yesterday. Is that Who Done It? Yeah. Which, if people haven't heard of this pinball table, it is so interesting because it is literally a whodunit. Like, there's a murder, and you have to go up certain ramps to like unlock interrogations, and you interrogate the witnesses, and then it actually has on the animations like LA Noire style facial tics. Yes. Which is crazy because they're all just like dot matrix.
Right. But someone will like smirk when you don't select them, like they're like, I got one over on you. Right. Like, well, this person.
So then you have to it's like a clue thing. You have to pick the suspect, and then if you get it right, then you have to chase them on the roof and they escape.
I did find the right suspect pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I fingered the butler.
Yeah. Yeah. I think his name was Butler. He wasn't a butler.
He was born Butler.
Yeah.
That's his name. It was a lot of fun, but yeah. I don't know. I feel like I would want to play Cactus Canyon again, I guess.
All right. Well, just $22. You can go down there and play it.
Yeah, that's an awful lot to play one pinball table.
Just play Cactus Canyon over and over again.
For 8 hours straight.
When we're done, I will look it up and see if Cactus Canyon is on Pinball FX.
Okay.
Adam's Family is.
Yeah, I know. Well, that would have to be.
Well, you say that, but there's not a lot. There's a lot of pinball tables. I'm like, they put that one on there, but not this one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
These are like licensing problems.
Probably. Anyway, this is not the pinball podcast.
You wish it was.
Sometimes, man, I could talk about pinball for hours. But want to remind everybody of R2V2 coming in October. Be sure to check that out. And this Saturday, as of this Saturday, we are going to be at Tilted 10 in Rockford, Illinois, doing an Extra Life event. I would love to put together that spreadsheet, and they've got pinball tables at Tilted 10.
Oh boy!
Anybody that wants to join in and do a little competition?
Yeah, you can have Scott beat the interest out of you too.
I'm really sorry, Zach. I feel so bad.
No, I'm playing it up a little bit.
And I didn't tell everybody the results. So as of right now, we only played 27 tables or something.
Right, it goes a lot slower with 3 people than 2. I imagine,
right.
Yeah.
Well, and we talked about ways to tweak it, make it go faster next year, even if we have just 2 people or more than 1 people, or more than 1 person. But
maybe that's it. Maybe when you come back in 3 years again, maybe I'll be refreshed enough, to forget what it felt like.
I hope so. Because the last thing I want to do is turn anybody off to pinball. But the race between Mike and I is neck and neck. He's got 1 win over me.
Right.
But I have points over him, and we've decided that the wins is more important, right?
As the third party, I would say the number of tables won is more, because the point economy is so different on every table.
Yeah.
That it's more interesting of how many tables did you win.
Right.
Yeah.
So but we could even translate that to arcade machines. We just make a list of arcade machines at Tilted 10 and be do this circuit, and then we log and then we have a winner for each game. And then we have a combined point total for everybody. That would be so fun to do.
That could be fun, yeah.
Just even throw in a pinball table in there. You know what I mean? Like one of the better ones or one of the more accessible ones.
Yeah.
I like that idea. So anyway, let's talk about some of the games we've been catching up on. And since we've been hanging out together, we've actually played some stuff together. You want to tell everybody about, we didn't play it a ton, but you want to talk about Ultimate Chicken Horse?
Sure, Ultimate Chicken Horse is Drunk Mario Maker.
Or WarioWare.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say WarioWare, because WarioWare is so many different games. This is true. You play as a bunch of barnyard animals or whatever, and it basically just has a start building and a finish building, and the idea is you're building a platform for everybody to get across, but you're also setting traps. But you place them on a grid as though it was Mario Maker or something like that.
Right.
You're kind of building your own platformer level, but the interesting part comes in because you need to try to build it to where you think you can get to the finish, but also try to build it in a way where you're hoping nobody else can.
Right, because you know what you placed, and when stuff gets so chaotic, you can't really keep track of what's new compared to the last one.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you know what you put, but you don't really know what everybody else puts until you start platforming. We actually didn't we have one where none of us could get to it?
Yeah, we messed up because we caged out the finish line. Basically, there's no way to get in there.
Right. So we had there's an item you can get that's a bomb that will blow up certain ones, and that was the only way we were able to do that.
Yeah, it's kind of a hard game to describe without seeing it. But once you see it immediately, I feel like Drunk Mario Maker makes sense.
I don't think we had that discussion when we were playing it, but that is a perfect description of the game. Drunk Mario Maker multiplayer. It
would be an excellent drinking game.
It would.
Everybody that doesn't get to the finish, take a drink.
Oh, that could be dangerous, man. Maybe if you're take a drink of your beer or something. I don't want to.
Don't do a shot every time.
Right.
You wouldn't be able to.
But it's goofy. It was so much fun, and I definitely. Well, now that we are on a little bit more similar schedule, we can actually do that online.
Right.
Mike and his wife actually were loving it too, and we could play
that online. Absolutely.
That would be hilarious. So, also, this isn't a video game, but it's a board game. But we played Thunder Road Vendetta together.
We're really earning the gaming outsider, not the video game outsider today.
But that game, okay. If CB didn't already own this game, he's actually owned this game for a while, and I've never played it until I came here.
Oh, okay.
Now I know CB has it. I'm not going to buy it, but I'm definitely going to borrow it or ask to play with him because this game is awesome. How would Mad Max the board game?
Right, it's Mad Max the board game.
Yeah,
that's the easiest way. It's basically imagine Fury Road. They're just going in one direction the whole time.
Uh-huh.
That's the board game. but you play as these different cars, and you can slam into each other or shoot the other cars, and chaos ensues because the way the dice roll, the cars can kind of like explode or get pushed into different directions. But if you like slam a car into another car, then those cars have to roll to see who gets slammed where else.
Yeah,
and it gets
like
slammed off
chain
the road.
reaction.
Yeah.
And but then you have like the whole you have 3 vehicles and they're all different sizes. So if you run into each other, it depends on which one's the bigger vehicle. You have like an advantage roll, which was fun because I've been playing a lot of D&D and Baldur's Gate.
Right,
so.
And you love rolling dice, man.
I do love rolling dice. It reminded me a lot of Formula D with a more complicated rule set, and just the thrill of Mad Max. Like even Taylor was getting so excited about that game.
Taylor being Mike's wife.
Mike's wife, yes. And I played it twice, and it is just instantly. If you guys like board games out there, listen to this. I cannot recommend this one enough. And apparently there's like a bunch of expansions that include like semi-trailers and motorcycles and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the motorcycles one sounds like a lot of fun.
I'm enamored with this game. But what else have you been catching up on?
Oh, well, I've been playing some more Dredge.
Yes.
Because I can't stop. It's just such a relaxing game. So I'm sorry for you and Alyssa, but I beat Dredge.
No, it's nothing to be sorry for. My Xbox has been out of commission after we had the storm, and my basement is just...
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like it was dead.
No. I just because we had to move all the furniture and move everything out of the room where the water was coming in. I haven't put it back together yet because I've been here. So hopefully I can get that straightened up when I get back. But that's why I haven't been playing Dredge, because I couldn't play it on my Xbox.
Well, the ending of Dredge I think is great.
Oh yeah.
There's 2 different endings, but they're both actually good. But it gets very Lovecraftian.
It does. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like scary. I'm just saying like in terms of the impact of your consequence, like the character you are or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I get it. It's good stuff. But yeah, then I just had to go after the platinum.
Oh, did you get it?
Enjoying. I got it.
Nice.
Yes.
How hard is it?
Pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's mostly just RNG. You're just waiting to get the right fish, basically.
Oh yeah.
So I caught every kind of fish. I caught every aberration out there. I caught the rare species of animals or of fish. Found every dock in the game. It was a really fun, good list.
That sounds like a Scott Clark checklist.
You should dig it big time.
Yeah.
I actually had a lot of fun, like looking at my fish encyclopedia and be like, okay, this fish, it shows up in the ocean at night, so I got to make sure I'm in the open ocean, not too close to a coast. It was a lot of fun. And then I also bought the DLC, the Pale Reach.
Is that the Dave the Diver one? Or no, Dave the Diver has Dredge DLC, not the other way around. Yeah,
this is like an Arctic area.
Oh.
And there's a narwhal, or narwhale, I think they call it. That's like the monster of the area. Because every, island region in the game has its own monster you're dealing with, essentially. And this, it has like a horn thing. But it's really just more Dredge, just with icy fish, rather. But it was a lot of fun. Had a nice little short story in there about finding something in the deep, which is appropriate for Dredge. Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. I got all the trophies in the DLC as well.
Wow,
all the new fish.
You're loving this game,
dude.
Man.
I'm all in on Dredge. They got the Iron Rig DLC coming out in August. We'll be playing the hell out of that, dude. Yeah. It almost makes you want to play Dave the Diver just for the kind of similar themes of the fishy, but the way you talk about Dave the Diver is like it's just way too long, right?
It's long, but I think what you'll appreciate with Dave the Diver is that there's genuinely an interesting story in that game, and you wouldn't think so starting out.
That is surprising, yeah.
Like it is, I mean, you're diving, you're collecting things, bringing it back, and running a sushi bar. I feel like the game is mixed up enough with the different types of gameplay, kind of like, remember Moonlighter?
Yeah.
Where it was like a dungeon crawler, but then you had like a store simulator or whatever. And so you never really got tired of doing either because you weren't doing it for super long.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that makes it feel not as long. It was more that I was surprised at how long it was. Because, when we get a review copy of something, we immediately go and try to see how long it is because we want to get through the game as quickly as possible.
Yeah. It would be nice that information were readily available.
Right. So when I saw the trailer for Day of the Diver, I was like, oh, this is, a little indie game that's going to be like 6 or 7 hours. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then when I looked it up after I got it and it was like 20, I was like stressed out immediately. You know what I mean? But it's an enjoyable 20 hours. Like it was, and the story, like I said, it goes some places that I was not expecting. Like there's one aspect of it, I almost want to tell you what it is to sell you on it, but it's such a fun surprise when you get to it. And again, it's all pixelated graphics, nothing looks, but But the dialogue and stuff is really good.
All right, I might have to check it out on because I want to see the Dredge DLC. I'm invested in Dredge now.
Yeah. Well, now you have a purpose. You know what I mean? Like other than the quality of the game.
Yeah. Well, yeah. When they had like Godzilla DLC too.
Yeah.
They're doing fun stuff over in Dave the Diver Land.
There's been a lot of like cross stuff between games lately that you would never think there would be.
I always like that about indies.
Yeah.
Yeah. They always were good about that. Like Yooka-Laylee has Shovel Knight in it.
Yeah.
So I feel like they've always been nice to each other in those ways.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Some of Dredge. The difference with Dave the Diver is it's not going to have the calming ocean feel that I get from Dredge, which I also get from Beyond Good and Evil or Wind Waker.
It does though.
You're out like in the open ocean, like
you're out
while you're diving. You get this feeling, or
no? But I mean, because when you're diving, it's like this serene. You're going through at this slow pace, and the music is calming, and you get deeper and it gets darker and stuff, but it just still feels very calm and relaxing. I mean, you're going to have encounters and stuff that are rough, but most of them, they're not. It's not a difficult game. Right. I'm never stressed with the combat. I mean, the boss battles, sure. Boss battles get a little bit hairy, but that's, most of it is just very serene.
I stand corrected.
So, I would love to see what you thought of that game.
I feel like I got a lot going. Now you brought me Paper Mario. I got a 30-hour commitment there.
You started that a little bit too, didn't you?
Yeah, not enough to really talk about. I'll probably talk about it more next week. But basically, I'm just surprised I played like an hour, maybe a little more. And you were not wrong. It's weird playing something with Mario in the title, and it's like I think I played it for like 7 minutes.
Yeah,
it's just it was 53 minutes of talking.
Yeah,
really shocking.
And it's a lot of dialogue, and that just kind of continues throughout the game.
And like I don't know if did you try to skip the combat tutorials at all?
I don't think so. I think I needed a refresher.
Like, berates you.
Yeah,
it's like, are you sure you really know how to play? Like, asked you like 3 times, are you sure you want to skip this tutorial?
Mm-hmm.
So at the point where I was like, I guess there must be something I'm forgetting that's so complicated about this. And then you play it. It's like, no, it's an incredibly simple
Which is
RPG.
funny because, like you said, like what... I mean, I don't want to talk down about kids, but I feel like what kid is going to be like, oh, a Mario game? And then they're going to play the tutorial and then they're going to stick with it. Because, as a kid, you don't want to read.
But you must be wrong, right? Because think about how beloved this game is. I assume the people that love this game to death must have been the ones that grew up with it.
I don't know, man. I feel like the people I was talking to were in their 20s when that game, like me.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? And everybody was playing it then. It was...
I do find, like, the dialogue charming, and was it Goombella?
Yeah.
She's a lot of fun, or the weird, wacky Goomba professor.
Yep.
Like, it's definitely charming. It's just like...
Professor Frankly? Is that his name?
Yes, yeah. I'm just surprised. I'm fine with the slow-paced game. I just got through these Trails things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just like, I'm surprised at a Mario game being the slow-paced.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that I walk for 2 minutes and then they talk again.
I had the same frustration when I played it originally. I was like, this game, like, I really like the gameplay and the combat feels satisfying and everything. It's really easy.
Yes,
like,
very easy.
It doesn't get super difficult. I think I died once the entire time I played through it, but...
Which is fine. It's supposed to be an all-ages RPG.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I had no problem with it. It's an interesting that they made a really easy RPG with a lot of story and text. Because even when I was a kid, I was a reader, but I didn't want to read it while I was playing a video game.
Yeah. See, I do want to read while I play a video game.
Yeah.
It's just like... I mean, it's not like the plot, it's about like finding these 7 stars or whatever. It's not...
Shocker.
Right, it's not rocking my world yet. But it is often funny, so that's nice. It's very charming.
Have you found Luigi yet?
No, I can't wait, dude, because I always loved running into him in Paper Mario.
Yeah.
Even though he was just sitting at home collecting the mail.
Yeah.
But I know he tells like overly long stories, right?
Yeah, like to the point that Mario like falls asleep while he's doing it. But like I'm like into his stories.
Yeah. No, oh, you know what? I do have one frustration.
Yeah.
That is like genuinely not like... It's that you can't advance dialogue.
I don't remember. You can't at all?
Like you can't tap through it or make it so like at least I haven't been able to. Maybe there's a button, maybe I'm pressing the wrong button.
Can you change the speed like you can
there's
the text dialogue
like
speed?
the only settings I saw were like rumble on and off.
Oh really? I don't remember.
Maybe you didn't feel the need to, or maybe I'm just pressing the wrong button, or
maybe I'm a slow reader.
That seems impossible. It's just like... Yeah, it's just like when I'm like hearing tutorial stuff, like I get it, I need to press A after I jump to do extra damage, like let me skip past this and it just won't let me.
That's annoying.
Yeah. Anyway, nitpicks. I'll have a real opinion next week.
All right.
Paper Mario. Well, actually probably not because I just got a review code, so...
Yeah, that's true.
I'll have a real opinion on Paper Mario in a few weeks.
What else?
Been playing Hellboy Web of Word more, even though it should be pronounced weird.
Weird, yeah.
And if you remember, I told you like you go through all the biomes, right? And then it makes you go through all of them again, where it has like an additional level on each in the game. But then after you do that, now you got to go through all of them in a row, and it just feels like kind of a time like they're just trying to stretch the game out.
Well, that's kind of the RBR.
Yes.
I mean, you do that in Hades.
I was gonna say, absolutely right. That's how run-based randomizers work.
Mm-hmm.
The difference in Hellboy is it's just not deep enough for this to be warranted. Because the fist is your only weapon option. It's just fist fighting, and you have like a couple secondary weapons. But then like the different boons you get or whatever, there's not that many of them, and there's not like interesting build crafting. Like there's no reason not to get the one that freezes enemies after you hit them. For instance, like there's just some that are so much better than others that it's not like a Hades situation where like everything's kind of good and then you can like, well, I can shift to this. I wasn't planning to do range this run, but now that I have all these skills, I may as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hellboy's only got like the 4 skills you can pick from,
right? And
you're gonna get 3 every run, so you may as well just. But I don't know. I'm just ready for it to be over, I guess. But I'm into I like the story and what's going on there. And Lance Reddick's Hellboy is awesome. It's just like, it's always disappointing when you like, oh, here's another layer to the game, and instead of being like, oh yeah, I can't wait to do that, I was like, oh, now I gotta do this now.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it wraps up.
Okay.
It's just it could have been better, I think.
I hear you. Well, speaking of Hades, I played a lot of that on the plane out here.
Sure.
I am back in on that. I wish I had gotten back into that when I wasn't reviewing another RBR.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because it's actually very similar to the other one I've been playing, just like a different setting, and obviously not quite as much of a budget as Hades has.
Sure. Well, but you did not fall in love with Hades like I did, right?
I didn't. I think I got through the first 2 bosses my first time, and I still haven't got to the 3rd boss on that. Although, no, I just beat I don't think he was a main boss. I think it was just a mini boss. It's like a minotaur, like a giant bull. Is it
the minotaur with Theseus or the Greek warrior or no?
Greek warrior. He like.
Did you fight in the Colosseum?
No.
With the cheering crowd? Okay, yeah. Well, the bull is also the boss of that area.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes he'll spawn as the mid-boss.
Yeah.
And if you do that, he like has half health in the actual boss fight.
Oh, that's cool.
Which is cool. And the actual boss fight is against 2 people at once.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I am digging this game, though. I don't know what your go-to starting weapon is.
My favorite is the spear.
The spear?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd actually just use the spear for the first time. My go-to is the bow and arrow.
Yeah,
the ranged weapon.
Yeah.
Especially if you get that, there's one power up you get that actually like increases the damage, but it also the amount you have to hold it down is longer.
Oh yeah.
But it's also frustrating when you go back and play it again and you don't have that timing in your head anymore.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like with Hellboy, it's the same thing every time, right?
Yeah.
In Hades and other RBRs, you have to switch up these little micro decisions.
Yeah.
If Hellboy is just the same decision every time.
Oh, really?
But this is what makes an RBR successful, if you ask me, is with the bow and arrow you're talking about, like you have to adjust your strategy now because you're holding down the button at different length or whatever.
Right.
It just.
What I was doing exclusively the bow and arrow just because I was so comfortable with it and I was having such success with it. Right. But then I realized that if you pick the other weapons, sometimes they give you a bonus.
Oh yeah, always go with the one with the bonus.
Right,
yeah.
And that kind of forces me to be comfortable with each weapon.
Well, and when you beat the boss, you only get the upgrade material if you use a different weapon every time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they try to incentivize you switching it up.
Which is something I liked about Children of Morta, if you remember. That game kind of, it didn't force you, but it definitely incentivized you to work outside of your comfort zone, which is something I really appreciate in these type of games.
Yeah, well, you said that one was story focused too, right?
It was. I don't remember the specific beats of it, but I remember the narrator being really good.
Okay.
And
well, I just feel like now that I actually like this genre, because remember I used to hate this genre.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you did play Morta.
No, I never. Well, I never. You told me that it had the best bet because it was story focused, and I was still like, I don't know. But then Hades came along. I was like, I can't ignore this. It's Supergiant. And then, that kind of like unlocked in my brain.
I mean, it's not going to be as good of a story as Hades for you.
Right.
Especially because I think you're familiar with those characters and stuff so much. This is more like a family that just has a lot of dark stuff happen to them.
Yeah, it sounds cool. I just, I think I did play like 30 minutes or an hour of it or something, but it was just like, I was so to be like, this genre sucks. Why am I wasting my time on these?
Man, I want to get back into Morta now because I never finished it, but it was such a freaking like I said, I love games that force me to do something that I'm not normally comfortable with.
Oh yeah, I love that. That's one of my favorite things.
And then like you become comfortable with that to the point where like I don't want to go back to another one. I want to do, oh no, but I'm going to get incentivized for it. And they do it in such a clever way. I don't know if you remember, it was like, if you do it, there are upgrades that affect every family member and whichever one you're running with.
Okay.
So like,
that's cool.
So like, and if you do a different character, that bonus increases more for the entire family than if you were to use the same character that you just ran with. Which is such a freaking clever way to do it.
I would say it's smart design.
Yeah, I love that. So, the other RBR I was mentioning is I have been playing the mess out of Galactic Glitch.
Right, you won't shut up about it.
Yeah.
The guy's in Portland, he just keeps mentioning Galactic Glitch. I've probably heard this name 20 times.
Well, and I feel bad because I talked about it last week, right, on last week's podcast.
Yeah.
But when I played it last week, the build I had, I got to like a boss, and then it said, congratulations, you've beaten the demo. And I went, oh, I just got a code for the demo. And I was like, I really like this, but I want more. And then I talked about it on the podcast. And then like after we recorded, I reached out to my contact and said, hey, you know, I just want to make sure that I got the demo, because I thought I was getting the early access version, but it said I got to the demo. And the guy writes back and says, oh, there must have been a glitch.
A galactic size one?
Yeah. There must have been a glitch because we sent you the early access version. So I booted it up. I don't know if it did an update or whatever, but I started another run, and it's like I have the full thing. I mean, obviously the early access version isn't necessarily full, and it plays significantly different. Like I was definitely playing a build the first time. Like they were creating specific scenarios, and now it's much more random. There's like an actual hub area that you go to do permanent upgrades, which wasn't in the demo. So there's a lot more going on, and I am making a lot of progress with it. It is so fun. But the thing that will really sell you on this game is it is one of the most slick in terms of controls. Like it just feels exactly the way it should. And remember I talked about like the dodges on the left bumper? Oh yeah. That threw me off for like the longest time. But
Can you switch it now? Or is it just in your brain?
It's in my brain, but I struggle with going between that and Hades because all the attack and dodge and everything are on different buttons.
Yeah.
So it's a little jarring to go back and forth, but I'm not gonna switch.
So does the early access on Galactic Glitch have a lot of content?
I had like to the point I played it probably 15 hours and I haven't reached the end. So,
that's cool because you know, like I love Rogue Prince of Persia, but it's like got like 8 hours of content maybe.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we complain about games being short or too long all the time, but with an RVR, right, you want all that experimentation. Yeah.
I haven't hit a wall at all, and even the upgrade path, like in the hub, I've got plenty of space to go because they do a deal where like you buy weapons, but then when you go to the weapon room, you've got the entire wheel of weapons, and the ones that you bought are highlighted or are lit up, and then on your next run you can buy whichever ones are available to fill in the entire arc of weapons.
I need you to stop playing games this year that sound good, right? I gotta play this mini shoot adventures. I got a lot of catching up to do,
dude. And what's funny is I got mini shoot adventures from the same contact, so I feel like they're like, we got a game for Scott.
Yeah, we know this. We know what this guy's about,
right?
Yeah. Why did you bring me Paper Mario? Right now I gotta be playing that.
Yeah, but there's no games out there, man. There's nothing to play. There's absolutely nothing to play. Anyway, the only other thing I've been catching up on, it's not even catching up on, but Mike brought up Super Ghouls and Ghosts, the old SNES game. Yeah. And I was like, that game's super hard. I'm like, dude, I love that game. I'd love to sit down and show you.
You said it's easy, bro.
No, I did not say it was easy. But I showed him and actually like taught him how that game works. I don't know if you ever played it. But like there's like a formula to him that I was describing, and he started comparing it to Dark Souls in that like there's a language you have to learn. I don't know, like with the chest boxes, you have to find just a random. You have to like double jump into one spot to make the box appear over here.
Mike's ready to be a game journalist, comparing everything to Dark Souls.
Sure, but I don't know because I've not played Dark Souls for more than 30 minutes. But I didn't beat the game. I got to like the 4th area, and I was like, man, this game is still just as hard. And I actually had a save. Because I'm playing on Switch, I had to, like what do you call it? Like where you load the checkpoint or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Save state?
Save state. I had a save state for the final boss, and like I just want to show you the final boss. Like the final boss.
Right after you go through the game a second time?
Yes. And it's like 2 stages. I forgot there was 3 stages of that final boss. You know the one I'm talking about? It's got like the 2 heads.
I definitely have never gotten to the final boss.
Oh no!
Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
So he's like this big dude, and then he has like a Krang style face in his torso that shoots out stuff at you, and so you beat that, and then there's like a harder version of that exact same boss, and then it goes to a 3rd stage where he's like, you know, fills the entire screen, and you have to jump up and use this weapon on his head, and it's insane, and you have to have that one specific weapon. That you remember how like the chests, like you get the weapon and then you get the green armor and then you get the gold armor and then you get the shield. Well, if you're able to get that far, the next chest will have this one weapon that is the only weapon that will damage the final boss.
Oh, okay.
And the weapon kind of sucks.
But you need it.
You need it. So you like just might as well just stick with it and learn the game with that weapon and get to the final boss. But anyway,
did you ever play Maximo?
It's weird you said that. We were talking about that too, but I have not. Is that Arthur? Or is his name Maximo?
He's got the heart-shaped boxer thing. Yeah, it looks like Ghouls and Ghosts. Or what is the name of this game?
Well, the original was Ghouls and... No, I think the original was Ghosts and Goblins.
Yeah, okay.
And then the other one after that was Ghouls and Ghosts, and then they had Super Ghouls and Ghosts.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I got confused with the Ghosts and Goblins or Ghouls and Ghosts.
Yeah.
Regardless, but yeah, no, it seems like just one of those in 3D. But I was just wondering, because you love this game so much. Is
it that hard? Is it like the same kind of...
I cannot speak to the difficult... I've never played Maximo.
I'll bet you CB has it. I'm going to have to borrow it and just like see what it does.
I would be curious. I want to know what you think in particular.
I will check it out. So that was a hell of an intro to this podcast, man.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't have a computer in front of me, so I have no idea how long it's going.
Dude, like we don't get to sit down and just talk. This is like I don't even feel like we're recording a podcast. I feel like we're just like hanging out and talking about our week.
Although I'm going to let the listeners in. It's nice because now I have Scott's undivided attention. Because he's always got 6 things going on in his mind. He's texting somebody. He's asking you a question. He's doing something with his hands. Like, what the? This guy needs to settle down.
Yeah.
It's that golden retriever energy, man.
I know, dude. People pleaser. Well, let's go ahead now and jump into the week's news. Before we get into the news, I want to talk to you guys about Ewin Racing. I am not sitting in it right now because I am in Portland, but sitting back at home.
Yeah, well, I'm in some kind of nice chair, Mike Scott, but
I've sat in that one. I guarantee. I can tell you, it is not as comfortable as my Ewin Racing chair.
Oh, okay.
It's great.
You know what? It's comfortable, but I can tell it's no Ewin.
I mean, they've designed those for like racing cars, which
right when Ewin is to your specifications, right?
Yes.
Your weight and your height and everything.
So, even if you're a bigger fella, I'm 6'2", so, I'm
certainly not.
You send them your measurements. They I'm not going to say they custom design it, but mine fits me like a glove. And I mean that in a good way, not that it, pokes out in 5 different places.
Like an Ace Ventura way.
Yeah, exactly. Like a glove. Yeah. But I like it so much, and some of our listeners have actually purchased these chairs based on our recommendations, and they absolutely love them. And the reason that they're also happy is that they got a discount, which you guys can still do. So if you'd like to get a chair for yourself from Ewin Racing, go to ewinracing.com and use our promo code TGO at checkout. You'll actually get 25% off of your order, and you will not regret it. It's fantastic. Ewin Racing, really like that stuff. Now, some new trailers this week. The Smiling Man, which I believe has a new title. It's that Switch.
Okay, yeah. So, I was wondering if you were caught up on this or not.
I was, and I forgot to update it on our little list here. What's it called now?
Famicom Detective Club. So it's called Emil the Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club, which I guess is the newest Famicom Detective Club game after 30 years. And we only got them in English a couple years ago.
I had never even heard of this, dude. I have no idea what.
But this is a first party Nintendo game.
Yeah.
It's being written and produced by the same guy who does Metroid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Sakamoto.
Have you ever played any of these?
No. This seems like something, if Alyssa were here, it seems like something to be up her alley, detective games, but no, I haven't checked them out. This one, the trailer, the Smiling Man trailer, looks creepy and interesting and cool, but then, I feel like I still want to check it out, but I really thought it was Nintendo doing a horror game.
Yeah.
Which I think could have been cool.
That's what I thought it was too, because they had like all kinds of warnings and stuff.
Is rated M?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A first-party Nintendo game that's rated M. Yeah. Has that happened?
No, they've done a lot of second-party, like Bayonetta, right?
Yeah.
But, or maybe Geist back on GameCube? Was that rated M?
I feel like that was rated teen.
Yeah, I think you're right. But, that's the one where you can possess a dog bowl. That game's funny. No, yeah, but surely this must have happened before, right?
We're gonna have to look into it.
Yeah, maybe not.
And then also the Karate Kid Street Rumble. It's coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC on September 20th. As far as news goes, Xbox unveiled a new Deadpool-themed controller in Series X and S console. Bethesda is the first Microsoft studio to unionize, and apparently 2.2 million people paid $100 to have College Football 25 3 days earlier than everyone else. Zach is already shaking his head.
Yeah, it's very disappointing.
But what story do you want to talk about?
Well, I think the union thing is the biggest deal.
Yeah, for sure.
In that, I mean, Bethesda has unionized, right? And Microsoft has acknowledged it, which I guess makes sense. They're a pretty, I would say, openly liberal-leaning company, right? You know, so that makes sense. What are they? They're calling themselves the Communication Workers of America, CWA. You always got to get an acronym going.
Isn't CWA like a transit system in Chicago or something?
Oh, it's a CTA.
CTA, I was close.
Yeah, but what they said was Mandy Parker said via press release, "We are so excited to announce our union at Bethesda Game Studio and join the movement sweeping across the video game industry." Mandy Parker, you Ron Burgundy me.
I did.
You used her name twice in this. Oh, I look foolish. She went on to say, "It is clear that every worker can benefit from bringing democracy into the workplace and securing a protected voice on the job. We're thrilled to get down to brass tacks and win a fair contract, proving that our unity is a source of real power to positively shape our working conditions, our lives, and the company as a whole." Other unions have recently formed at Sega America and Activision's QA team. Activision's QA team would also, of course, fall under Microsoft. And they said they would not block an Activision Blizzard union if that were to happen either. I think this is huge. Right? This is the first... Because the QA team is one thing, but this is like Fallout.
Developers.
Skyrim,
Yeah.
Like, this is a big deal, and I think this is... Somebody had to do it first.
And especially coming from Microsoft, who just did a whole bunch of layoffs for companies that they purchased.
That's a very good point.
They pulled an Embracer. You know what I mean? And like, so the fact that this happened, they clearly couldn't fight it. You know, just for
optics, you mean?
Yeah. But there's just no way you could do that without looking really terrible. So of course they had to say, yeah, we're okay with this. This is fine. So
smart, but what it does is now, you know, if like Rockstar unionizes, now Take-Two's in the position of, do we want to look bad enough to like not acknowledge this or whatever? I think this is a great.
It's perfect timing.
Yeah,
like
they struck with Todd Howard over there. He knew what to do, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What if that was their plan all along? Look at it under Microsoft, and then we're going to unionize.
That would be smart.
But yeah, I feel like these people need the protection. I mean, there's just, you know,
right when it was like 14,000 jobs, 15,000 jobs already lost this year. Like,
that's industry wide. That's not just Microsoft.
No, right? Of course, but it's just clearly American companies don't care, right? You look at the Japanese companies; they're like giving raises and stuff, and
or the CEOs are taking pay cuts.
Yeah, taking care of people. But no, over here, you know, a CEO gets a $20 million bonus, and we can't afford to have these 1,200 people though.
Yeah.
So something's got to give, and I'm glad this is happening. This is great.
I am too. I'm going to be really interested to see what happens in the coming months with other companies. Who's
going to follow suit now?
Is there going to be like a indie developer union, you know, or something like that? Like, are they going to band together? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's voice actor unions, right? And they don't all necessarily, you know, work for the same company. That's gig work.
They say, work for hire, right?
Yeah.
Gig.
Yeah. So it's gonna be really interesting, and I think that's.
I think these studios are gonna find that, you know, I guess Bethesda actually has a pretty long average tenure of their employee anyway. Mm-hmm. But I think you're gonna find that your games are gonna get better if people can actually like learn the tools and remember how to design the games. You know, if you don't get fired after you ship a game, you'll be more of an expert the next time you didn't make a sequel.
Right. Well, you were talking about that yesterday. Like with Nintendo, they've got people that have been working there like since the beginning.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like there's this massive turnover rate. Clearly, there's going to be new people, but you know, you've got people that have been doing that same job for forever, and of course, that quality is still going to be there.
Right? Like remember, was it Mario Wonder?
Yeah.
Where like the five people who were responsible for the first Mario Brothers all worked on Mario Wonder. Yeah. That's unheard of in the industry,
and it was evident in the game.
Yeah.
Have you played it yet?
I have not, but you know, the Mario quality is pretty consistent.
Yeah, it just felt like a Mario game. It felt like the next evolution. I actually am kind of weirded out that game didn't blow up more. I mean, I know it probably sold pretty well, but
it sold dozens of millions of copies. Yeah.
Right, but I mean, but nobody is talking about it anymore. You know what I mean? It was like a flash in the pan Mario game, which is weird because we haven't had a side-scrolling Mario game.
Well, it came out in a pretty busy
year.
That
might have been part of it too, but
it was going to be hard for a Mario game to stand out against Baldur's Gate 3 taking all the conversation.
Good point, but I should have brought that for you to borrow because that game is just delightful. Like, it is just so...
Oh, Mario Wonder?
Mario Wonder, like, every level, the little flower power thing you does that does something to the level.
Oh, yeah, the Wonder Flowers?
The Wonder Flower. Yeah. It's incredibly unique. Every single level. Not every world. Every single level, it just does something that you've not seen yet in the game.
And that's the kind of creativity you get out of somebody who's making Mario their whole life, and it's like, I don't want to do the same thing I used to do.
Exactly.
You're not a fanboy of the materials. You're not trying to recreate the Mario you played as a kid.
Right.
You're trying to... What's a new idea, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even charming little things like, I think I've talked about this before, but like when Mario goes into a pipe, like a sideways pipe, he goes in, but his hat like stays, and then you just see an arm grab out and grab it and drag it back in.
Cute little,
like Indiana Jones style. You know, so little touches like that are so cool. And then it's also, the game's not that difficult, but it offers this extra world with insanely difficult Mario platforming.
It's kind of been the Mario tradition for the past few, right? Like
yeah.
the Dark Moons in Odyssey.
I didn't get to the really hard ones in Odyssey. There's like 900 moons in Odyssey.
It's a very big game, yeah.
It was like Korok seeds all over again. I'm like, I'm good.
Oh, it's a great game. Did you beat it, Odyssey?
Odyssey? Oh, yeah. Twice.
Oh, okay.
That ending...
I love it. It
was so cool.
So fun.
Like, this is what I'm doing right now. Anyway. The story I wanted to talk about just quickly is this Deadpool themed controller, which...
Hey, you like the Deadpool butt?
I don't want it. I just thought it was really funny that they did this. So the Deadpool controller literally has a butt on the back of it. And I don't know if I told you this. We've had a conversation. I just learned this morning that I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but it's just like a plate that magnetically sticks to the back of it. You can actually take it off.
Oh, okay. You don't have to be groping Deadpool the whole time?
Right. Which, like, why? If, like...
I don't know. It reminds me of like the fuzzy Sonic controllers.
Yeah. Well, those would be gross after a while. Could you imagine? Like, don't eat Doritos while you're playing that game.
Well, I never do.
I don't either, but the thing, it has an ass on the back of this thing, which is totally on brand with
do you think it is modeled after Ryan Reynolds behind?
That would be hilarious. I don't know. I've not studied his ass closely enough to know.
Surprised to hear this.
I that tracks. But I don't know. That'd be really funny if it did. But between this and the popcorn bucket,
oh yeah, Wolverine's mouth.
The marketing for this movie is brilliant. Like, especially with that latest trailer that just dropped.
Right. Yeah. The marketing is on brand.
Yes. Well, and that's the thing. I think we talked about this before. But is this Deadpool the Deadpool of the comics, or is it exaggerated?
Well, he is of the 2000s and on, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a modern Deadpool for sure.
All right. Oh, and there's a console too. An Xbox Series X is like Deadpool black and red, and there's actually like these foam katana blades on the back of it. It looks really cool.
I mean, it looks cool. I've got no interest in it, but it looks cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean,
did you enter the sweepstakes? I
did not, and that's the thing. I should, just because only one person is winning. They only made one of these. Does that seem right?
Oh, that's how the Sonic one worked too, right?
I just don't understand that. Why you could sell that? People would buy that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like what are you gaining by releasing one? I mean, I understand the marketing aspect of it for the movie, and
but you could do that by saying you'll win one, but then also you could buy it if you want.
Right. Sell 20,000 of them, or I don't know, even limited quantity, like 2,500 of them.
Maybe they just know nobody will buy an Xbox.
Maybe. Very funny.
Hey, I'm just reporting the statistics. That's all.
I feel like people would buy. Well, here's the thing: like, if you win that thing, that's an immediate collector's item,
right?
Like, I'm looking at it from a collector standpoint. Clearly,
do you think they'll send Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman one of these?
I don't know. At least Ryan Reynolds one.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to get that and then meet Ryan Reynolds at a Comic-Con or something and have him sign it.
That would be pretty cool.
So this is, like I said, is clearly coinciding with the release of Deadpool and Wolverine. That releases on July 26th. I am amped for that movie. I kind of wish that movie was releasing this weekend so we could have seen it together.
Yeah, that'll probably be the way I'll see it in theaters. Otherwise, I'm probably just gonna stream that bad boy.
Oh, really? You're not gonna go see it in the theater?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I thought you said the last trailer kind of sold you.
No, the last trailer makes me want to see it. Yeah, and I said it almost gets me in the theater, but I don't know.
You're good.
I don't know if I need to see it in the theater.
What if we put a cowboy hat on Ryan Reynolds?
Actually, I think Cowboy Deadpool is in this movie.
And you're still not gonna go see it in the theater?
All right, you're making a good point.
All right, well let's.
You know what? I'm sorry. I meant to put this on the news.
Yeah.
But you've exhausted me this week, and you've kept me tired. You know what I mean? But did you see that the FCC filed a complaint against Xbox, or like they're getting up to, saying that what they're doing with the Game Pass thing?
Oh yeah, I did see this.
Great product. I think that's kind of. I don't know if it'll go anywhere because I guess Xbox could just claim that it's not because of Call of Duty.
Because they're saying that they're devaluing what you're getting, but increasing the price.
Because during their anti-monopoly or antitrust lawsuit or whatever, one of the complaints was that if they have Call of Duty, then they can kind of use that to affect Game Pass and make it work deal for everybody. And they said they wouldn't do that. So they're definitely doing that. Right. Straight up. But
especially with the changes where like, oh, now if you want the day one titles, you have to have the high tier.
Exactly, yeah. So the FCC is claiming that the standard tier is a degraded product because you don't get the day one games, which fair.
It is fair.
But I would assume all Xbox has to do is be like, well, that's not why we did it, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah.
Or would they like create a Call of Duty tier?
But then it doesn't also degrade the other products. Because their claim was that they were not going to use Call of Duty to badger Game Pass customers, but they absolutely are.
Yeah, they could say not. It's not just Call of Duty; it's all the games. We're not doing it as bad as you're saying. We're doing it worse.
Right? Yeah, we're not doing it for Call of Duty. We're doing it for all Xbox games. That's what's compelling us to do this. Yeah. Even though we all.
Oh, you're right. You're fine.
Yeah. I guess you can screw people over wholesale as long as it's not just Call of Duty. Yeah.
Right.
No, I'm sure there's ways out of it. I just thought it was kind of nice to see that the FTC wasn't just like giving up, and I still think it's weird that why did Disney get to just buy everything up or whatever, but I guess you have to start with somebody.
Yeah, that is interesting. I just I wonder if the court system is like, we're just done talking about this, guys. Can we just move on to something else?
Yeah, there are bigger things going on right now.
The FTC can't be me.
Well, they won't let Xbox be.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not trying to beat up Xbox. Game Pass is kicking butt this month.
I feel like you and I are in the minority of people that are just not talking crap about Xbox we had negative things to say about that, but people are like really upset. But I feel like, again, we talked about this in the car today, they're still going to pay for Game Pass. Like, I don't feel like this.
Oh, right. Yeah, people complain.
I actually heard somebody on Jeff Kanata said on his podcast, he said that because he's a PC gamer, he feels like this is actually going to make him just drop down a level.
Yeah.
So instead of going the $15 tier, which would now be the $20 tier, he's just going to go down to like the $12.99 tier because he prefers to play on PC anyway. Right.
Well, it's such a better deal for PC gamers than Xbox. Which I still don't understand.
Yeah, like you're an Xbox brand and you're making it better for the PC players.
You're punishing your most bought-in audience.
You're right. Yeah.
Bizarre.
Which might be a sign of the future that maybe they're going towards a console-less future.
Right. It's like you can have the hardware if you want, but our focus is Game Pass.
Well, especially because they just released you can now buy this Amazon Fire Stick and get 3 months of Game Pass for this price, and to get you in that way.
See, I wasn't being mean when I said no one's buying an Xbox.
Yeah,
that's what Xbox wants.
That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like. All right, well, let's talk about Patreon for a second. We've got some bonus episodes for people if you'd like to help us out, because we do pay for this podcast service on our own. We've got the live music discussion episode with Kevin and myself. That was a lot of fun. Have you heard that episode yet?
I still have not. I mean, I don't know if there's a lot for me.
There is a story in there you will want to hear, I promise you, about something that happened to me and Kevin that involves...
Okay. I think you have made mention of this before. Yeah, I got to download this episode. Yeah.
You need to hear it, because there is a... Keep in mind, Patreon is our R-rated content. We that's where we allow some swearing and we allow some naughty stories. There is something very funny that happened at a concert that Kevin and I went to that you want to hear that story. You can only hear it on Patreon. Also, we did a Peace of Mind episode with Zach, Alyssa, and myself. And actually, right after we do this, we're going to be recording a Desert Island episode with Mike.
That's right.
We're actually in his house right now. We're recording at his house.
Yes.
He's downstairs waiting for us to finish this episode so that he can come up and talk to us about his 5 games that he would choose to play if he were on a desert island. So if any of that content sounds great to you and you would like to help us out over here at The Gaming Outsider, head over to patreon.com/thegocast. Even $1 a month helps us out, and you can get our regular episodes a day earlier than everybody else. So please consider it. We would really appreciate it. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into the new games that we've been playing. All right, Zach, I got a lot to play right now. My plate is full, but is there anything new and exciting that I should keep an eye out for?
I guess you're going to have to tell me. I know you're a One Piece guy.
So no, I'm not.
One Piece Odyssey, it came out on PlayStation. I want to say Xbox, maybe not. I don't know. This is a JRPG One Piece game, but it's getting ported to Switch, which I think is smart, on July 26th.
Why didn't they release this back when the TV show came out on Netflix? Wouldn't that have made more sense?
Yes, the hit live action show?
Yeah.
What? Are you being serious?
I heard people liked it.
No, I'm not saying if they like it or not, but I mean, like, One Piece has been an anime for over 1,000 episodes.
No, I know, but wouldn't it make sense, like, to cross...
maybe they did it for the original. I don't know. I don't remember when that show came out.
Oh, okay. I have no idea. Like, I feel like One Piece has been around for like a long time.
Yeah, I would say most of our lives, right? Or
yeah.
Sword and Fairy Inn 2 comes to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, and Xbox One July 30th. First-person shooter RBR: A Dead Link comes to PS5 and Xbox Series consoles July 30th. Star Wars Bounty Hunter gets released on PlayStation for the second time on PS5, PS4, but it's also coming to Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC August 1st. Thank Goodness You're Here comes to PS5, PS4, Switch, and PC August 1st. Mars 2120, a side-scrolling Geargate game, coming to all consoles and PC August 1st. And Tomba Special Edition, a PS1 classic, coming to PS5, Switch, and PC August 1st. I would assume, based looking on these, Mars 2120 maybe is going to catch your eye.
I mean, you say 2D Geargated game, I'm instantly interested.
You're automatically interested?
Yeah. But honestly, I gotta play. I've never played Bounty Hunter.
Wow.
Like I played it for like a minute. Like I was at my in-laws' house, or I was at my in-laws' house, and my brother-in-law was playing it, and he handed the controller to me, and I got to play a little bit, but I never played through it. So I'm more interested in that. But yeah, Mars 2120 looks. It reminds me very much of what's the chair one.
Shadow Complex?
Shadow Complex. It's got that like 2D but 3D background thing going on.
Well,
so
there's something about the aesthetic I enjoy as well. It's kind of like an industrialist sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
So, what about you?
Well, I'm with you, Star Wars Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
This game it's not the greatest Star Wars game out there. I remember the controls being kind of sloppy and a little loose.
I remember something with the right trigger that bugged me. But I don't remember, like, again, just a little bit.
Is that how you, like, feathered your jetpack?
Something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember. But I remember it has kind of, like, some, sort of Prince of Persia style traversal, but it was just done kind of sloppily. But and then once you get the jetpack, it's irrelevant.
Right, I was going to say, like, don't you have a jetpack in the game?
But it takes a couple hours to get your jetpack in the game.
Mm-hmm.
For me, my memory of Bounty Hunter is wasted potential mostly because I wanted to hunt bounties as Jango Fett.
Yeah.
Well, preferably as Boba Fett.
Well, thankfully Disney remedied that with their recent TV shows.
Right, yeah, they're so good at making bounty hunters not hunt any bounties in their many shows centered around bounty hunters. But because you can hunt, there are a couple levels, like on Nar Shaddaa maybe, where you're like looking for a bounty in a crowd and you get some money that way in Star Wars Bounty Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly it's like you're in this linear level and like, you know how in a video game you have the right path or the hidden item path?
Yeah.
And like the hidden item path is like, there's a bounty over here. So it's not that exciting.
Oh.
I would rather it be more in depth, I guess.
Yeah, but
like
I kind of miss, just A to B games.
No, hold up. It's a fun linear game. I'm just saying, like, there's a waste of potential in the idea of a Star Wars bounty hunting game.
Oh, gotcha, okay.
And, maybe hopefully Star Wars Outlaws remedies that with some of the side quests. I don't know.
I hope so.
But as this game stands, it's a fun Fett story. And like Count Dooku is used in a cool way, kind of in a menacing way, so that's always nice. It's got a fun little plot to it. Yeah, so if you like Star Wars, I think it's, it's from that era where they made Like, they didn't make anything worse than a good Star Wars game for a while there, you know what I mean?
Right. August 1st, though. I don't think I would like to play that one, but I don't think I'll be able to before next week. But, yeah, I'm going to...
You got enough time to clear stuff out, right?
To clear stuff out? That's a good point. I got to finish Galactic Glitch. I got a lot to play.
Put some games behind you and play some Star Wars Bounty.
What I got to do is write about them. I've done the playing. Now I've got to write about them.
Well, I would love to hear your opinion on Star Wars Bounty Hunter.
Oh yeah, well you play some Children of Morta, and what was the other one we were talking about? You playing Dave the Diver, and I'll play. Yeah,
in addition to the games I'm reviewing, I'll squeeze that in there. Plus, all the games on the Steam Summer Sale that nobody plays their Steam Summer Sale.
I was gonna say, just throw your money at Steam. You should just have like a credit built in.
It seems to be what most people do, right?
Yeah,
it's like that's the culture.
Wasn't there like a stat of like the number of
it's like $16 billion worth of games go unplayed on Steam
that haven't been downloaded, installed, or played at all?
Just bought,
just building up my backlog just because I can.
Well, it's just, what are you gonna do? Not buy this game for $2?
Yeah, dude. I bought Fallout 4. I haven't even installed it.
But it's just such a good deal. You'd feel silly not getting it.
Exactly. I want to hear about this new game you've been playing, though. You talked about it last week because you were excited. It was Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder. You're playing it on the Steam Deck, speaking of the Steam Deck. And, this looks like a Scott game, honestly.
Yeah, a little. Yeah, I would say it is. This is it's only on PC right now. They got a Switch port in the works, and then based on how that sells, it might come to PlayStation and Xbox later.
Okay.
But as it stands right now, you're playing a Steam Deck. They built it. They said they developed it with Steam Deck in mind. Which pays off. Like, it's flawless.
Oh, okay, good.
Which is great. But yeah, this is a Scott Clark looking video game.
Yeah. It's also a Zack looking video game because it's a female protagonist that's wearing what looks kind of like a cowboy hat.
Well, she's wearing a hat. I wouldn't say it's a cowboy hat, but she does have a revolver.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's cool.
You're helping my argument.
But it's a steampunk setting, very much like, I guess, like religious fervor in the air. Does that make sense? Like,
even better, dude.
Like religious powers. There's kind of this interesting plot about where they kind of had to like conscript people into being these. I think they call them like soldiers of the abyss or abyssal knights, and they use this kind of dark energy to help them fight off these bad guys. But then once the war was over, whatever, they really didn't have any need for these people anymore.
Right. But
they were also infected by the darkness, so they got exiled because you don't want these bad people around. And now we're at the point where it's kind of been this soft war between these exiles and your main city for a few centuries or whatever, and now we're trying to like reach a peace accord, and that's kind of where the game starts.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously things don't go well because it's a story.
It's a video game.
Yeah, so things don't go quite according to plan. But so far the game is surprising, or it's not surprising. It's the reason I was interested is how story focused it is.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like I'm thinking back to Iconoclast, which was a Geargated game with a heavy emphasis on narrative.
I loved that game.
Yeah, it's not quite that good. At least not yet. It could get there. But the gameplay, I'm sorry. The story so far, it does a good job of not just focusing on your main character, which is a problem in a lot of video games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it actually you'll like enter a new area, right, in your Geargated adventures, and it'll just fade to black and it'll just cut to what other characters are doing.
Are you playing that other character? Or
no,
is it
it's just like the cutscene. It's like, like a little visual novel segment almost. You're just pushing A through some dialogue.
Okay.
But what it does is, like, when you encounter those characters, now you already have familiarity with them.
That's cool.
And it's really nice because you think about like the villains of Metal Gear Solid, right? You only ever hear about them through codec calls or whatever.
Right.
But in this game, you're actually like seeing what they're up to, how they talk to each other.
So do all those characters like converge together, or is it just the one-on-one interactions?
They're all interacting with your main character, Alethea, in different ways. But to your point, with the cutaways are nice because like sometimes it'll be like you might see like what the king emperor guy, I don't know what his title is doing, right? And he's talking to some character. Then the next cutaway might be these two other characters, and then you get to like this third cutaway, right? And like two characters that were in those two scenes before are now like meeting and maybe discussing, how they're playing these people against each other or something like that.
Okay.
Like, so you're seeing a lot of the interpersonal dynamics, which just doesn't have a lot in video games, honestly.
And political intrigue, it sounds like a little bit.
Yeah, definitely some political intrigue. Not that sophisticated, but
yeah.
But it's just really nice to see the villains or ancillary characters fleshed out, not just through the protagonist's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been really fresh. As for the gameplay itself, very much standard gear gated affair, jumping around, slashing stuff with your sword, shooting some stuff with your revolver, and standard stuff. It really reminds me of Mega Man Zero in its action. I don't know if that's intentional or not, but that's what's reminding me of.
Okay.
So the way she slashed her sword, she got that long flowing hair. This feels very Zero to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I could see that from the trailer,
especially with it, mixing in the range combat. But you get like different kinds of bullets that do different sorts of things. I just got the double jump, of course. The standard gear gated question: time to double jump.
Yeah.
When do we get it? It's inevitable.
Mm-hmm. What was the game I played recently that had it's Prince of Persia,
Lost Crown, where it's
like one of the last powers you get, which was like kind of refreshing.
What made you see? It felt like you were finally freedom or whatever.
Yeah.
The bosses have been somewhat simple so far.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to cover all the bases because these games are fairly.
What about the gear gating aspect of it? I know you said the double jump, but like, is it just standard? Like, I need this weapon to get through this rock.
Yeah, I would even say it's because they build it as a gear gated game,
mm-hmm.
but I would say it's almost more linear than that.
Oh,
like it's very like you'll be in this specific area, and you'll see like the gap is too big or whatever, and you're gonna get that shortly. And then I haven't encountered a lot of situations yet where I'm like, I gotta make sure I get an item to come back here.
Gotcha.
And when I do, it's just to find the hidden item of the game, which are corgis. That you
corgis?
Yeah.
Like the dog?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the hidden object in the game. I'm so jaded on dogs now that I just ugh, and roll my eyes. Dogs in video games anyway. I like dogs themselves.
Can you pet the corgis?
You can't. That's how you collect them. You have to give them a little scruff behind the ear. That's a major collectible. That's kind of been that so far, but there's also like ability points you can find, but you're getting so many anyway
mm-hmm.
to level up that I don't feel compelled to go back and find them. So I guess I do wish there was more focus on the exploration with the gear gated aspect of it.
Okay, that's gotta be kind of freeing a little bit.
Well, I guess you just trust the path, which is nice.
Yeah.
And I guess it's so story focused that they probably want to keep you on track. So maybe at the end of the game it will open up in a significant way. I don't know. I'll report back.
All right.
And the skill, your ability points feed into a skill tree. It's not very exciting.
Yeah.
Which is not surprising.
I mean, I don't remember the last time you said a skill tree was exciting in any way.
Fallen Order, that had a good skill tree.
Oh yeah, with when you go to pray or meditate or whatever.
And Cal's getting closer to the Force. It's unlocking more abilities, etc.
Mm-hmm. But it was like specific abilities, though. It wasn't like, your damage is increased.
Right. This is a lot of your gun damage has gone up by 6.
Yeah.
Stuff. Now there are some. You basically have to. It's almost like a node structure, like a little grid you're building out from.
Oh, you mean like in Fallen Order?
No, I wouldn't say it.
That was nodes.
Yeah, but that not the same way. This is hard.
I'm sorry. That was in circles. Is this one in squares?
This is like you're like building out a path, but when you get your new gear gated ability, like a double jump, it opens up a different thing, and you need to connect the 2 nodes with ability points towards the center, and then that'll unlock like a new kind of bigger ability, like an extra light attack.
That's exciting.
Yes. I'm talking about it more. It's more exciting than I was leading on.
Yeah.
All right. Now that I think about it. All right. Now you want me to think. The nodes that get there, not very exciting. But when you do, getting a new extra slash or I just got like a dodge roll into a stab.
That's fun.
That's been kind of an exciting one.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's good for bosses.
Well, that's like I do that in Hades a lot with the spear.
Oh, yeah. Like that.
Dash attack.
Yeah, so maybe there's a better skill tree than I let on, okay?
Yeah.
I stand corrected. I'll issue an apology. Sorry to Metamorphosis Games. I spoke out of turn. I don't care about the +6, but I guess it's something to build out so that way these more exciting abilities feel like they're worth getting. Mm-hmm. But I do really like that, there's you have to unlock both sides of this.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's kind of interesting.
It's always just like a one direction skill tree.
Right.
Or, branching, but there's no interconnect. That's really cool. That should be a thing more often, really.
Yeah, well, it almost gamifies the skill tree.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I guess I was totally wrong when I said it's not that exciting. I lied entirely.
I wasn't trying to call you out.
No, you were right. No, this is what you should be doing, right? Prodding and interviewing. But no, I am really liking it. I don't think it's as gear gated, at least that you would get, because if you go to the store Steam page, the first thing you see is Metroidvania. which is weird. They should say gear gated. It's like I don't. Dude, they must not have gotten the email.
We're really trying hard to integrate this into everybody, and like nobody else is called it gear gated.
Right.
Like, we want to make it happen. We're trying to make fetch happen.
Dude, I heard it. I feel like I heard it once.
Did you really?
I think I did. Anyway, doesn't matter. Irrelevant. But the point is, I don't think it's as gear gated as other games would lead you to believe. However, that doesn't bother me as much because I am invested in the story. Particularly the characters are interesting. You know, they're like this dude Renard. I guess I can't say too much, but his complicated feelings on some situations are interesting. Are the
I mean, you compared this earlier to Iconoclast, and I feel like those characters were just super interesting. Are they that interesting?
They are more interesting than you'd expect of the genre, but they haven't reached that level of depth yet. But then again, if you were only a third of the way in Iconoclast, you probably wouldn't say that either.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so we gotta see how deep these characters go.
And those villains were just so interesting.
Yeah, right. Well, they spent a lot of time with the villains in that game, which is unusual for.
I gotta replay that game.
It's exceptional.
It is an exceptional game.
But Gestalt, Cinder, I'm really liking it so far. I do want to see where the characters go because, like, I'll use Renard as an example. He knows something about Alethea that means he probably should be either arresting her or executing her, who's your main character. But you guys grew up together, so he doesn't want to. So he has like this fight with her. This is a small spoiler, I guess. Fast forward like 45 seconds if you don't want to spoil. But I think this helps tell you about the writing. So he like has a boss fight with you, right?
Right.
And you beat him, and you know he acts like kind of a tough guy. Like, oh, next time, I won't. Next time I'll have no choice but to kill you or whatever. But then, like, she leaves and he's, like, talking to one of, his friends because he's, like, one of the vanguard that defends the king.
Yeah.
And he's, like, talking to one of the other ones and he's like, okay, I think she can take care of herself. Like, we can focus elsewhere. Because he basically just wanted to make sure that she was strong enough because he knows that people, when they find out the secret about her, are going to come after her.
Oh, so he was more or less testing her.
Yeah, he was more or less making sure he didn't have to keep an eye on her.
Wow.
Even though his job should be to arrest her.
That's... Okay, I think you've sold me on this game.
See, like, that's the level of writing that you just don't get often with this, especially this genre.
Right. Yeah, it's usually like just there to have something.
Right. So, so I've been really impressed with the characters so far.
All right, Gestalt.
The king guy, I don't know. It's good. It's good stuff, is what I'm saying.
Gestalt, Steam, and Cinder. Man, another game I gotta play.
Yeah, add it to your list.
Do you have any idea the length?
They have an FAQ on their store page telling you this information. Isn't that beautiful?
Why can't more people do that?
That's what I'm saying. They're like, if you do a story run, 6 to 8 hours. You want 100% it, 10 to 12 hours.
That just needs to be standard.
I agree. Is that not... That's,
like, for adults. I get kids.
So nice. Because you have to assume, as a game developer now, that if you don't list it, the first thing everybody's doing, howlongtobeat.com.
Right.
Yeah.
So why not just give it up front?
Why does it need to be a secret?
I don't know why it's got to be a secret.
Don't try to trick me.
I mean, in some stances when it comes to a story, like, you don't want to be like, oh, I'm coming to the end or I got another 4 hours left. I get that, but I don't have that kind of time anymore. Yeah, like, I need to budget my gaming time.
Are you saying it's more of an us problem?
Maybe.
No wonder.
But like, why isn't that? It's not difficult for a developer to do that. They know how long it takes to put out their game. Why not just put that, like, even from, I guess, from a press standpoint, put it in your press kit. Whenever I get a press kit that says this game is this long, I'm like, thank you.
Right.
I'm actually, like, even if it's longer than I want it to be, I'm still more likely to, at least now I know.
Yeah, know what we have to invest.
Yeah.
Well, it's also just, like, I applaud them on this game specifically because, like, in today's era where it feels like length to dollar is more important than ever for people from some...
Well, as you get older, your time becomes more valuable.
I'm saying, like, people get mad, like, this game's like Star Wars Outlaws, right? People are like, it's only 20 hours? Is it really worth $70?
That's a selling point for me. That's a feature.
That's what I'm saying. But I think it's kind of brave of them to just be like, it's a 6-8 hour story. That's nice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good for that. I respect the honesty. It goes a long way. All of this to say, I'm so glad you asked me about the skill tree because you're right. It is more interesting than I was thinking it was. I was just focusing on the little nodes and forgetting how fun it was to build them together to get those abilities. So really, I have very little complaints with Gestalt other than the bosses are kind of easy, I guess.
And I don't have a problem with easy bosses.
Yeah.
You're also an Elden Ring player, so like everything's going to be an easy boss fight.
Well, dude, honestly, like I'm dying more often than I thought I would, especially because I was hearing this game's kind of easy.
Yeah.
But, props to you, Scott. You're the 2D master. Because I feel like you're gonna beat this game a lot faster than I am. Because I'm dying.
Now you're making me want to do it just so we can compare.
Well, that was not the attempt. But no, I was just saying. I think you're good at hard games. Just you're beating Super Ghouls and Ghosts on a whim.
Well, it's not a whim. There's been a lot of hours getting good at that game.
Yeah, what was that? I'm just saying, give yourself some credit. I think you're good at hard games. They just happen to be 2D. That's all.
Yeah. There is another hard game that I played. Oh, wait, I can't. Never mind.
Can't talk about it?
I can't. I didn't want to be that guy. I swore I was never going to be that guy.
All right, well, let's talk about another game you're playing, right? Something probably a little easier, since I heard you beat it, an hour or two?
Yes. Retro Avengers. This is, I don't know how to pronounce the developer. Shin-Yuden? Does that seem right? Shin-Yuden?
Yeah, in Ratalaika Games, I'm familiar with them.
Right, Ratalaika.
It's Retro Revengers, isn't it?
You're correct. I totally wrote that down. I Ron Burgundied myself.
Oh my gosh.
Retro Revengers. I think I just wanted it to be Avengers because we were watching we were talking about comic book movies.
Yeah, well, and what Next Level has comic books on like every wall.
Yes, yes, that's another thing. If you guys want to they call it Pinball and Museum. That's a museum, man.
Yeah,
There's
that's true.
Like just so much stuff to go look at. You could look at the walls all day long. But anyway, Retro Revengers is a 2D platformer, sprite based, and there's
in the trailer it seemed like it had kind of a cheeky attitude. Is that true to the game?
It does, but it's just dialogue in between stages. So there's a 45-second to a minute 30 story at the beginning where there are 4 characters sitting at a castle. Basically, they're having a slumber party and they're playing video games.
Okay.
Right? One's a cat, one's a dog. I don't know.
They're getting along?
Mass hysteria. They're playing video. They're having a sleepover basically, and this is a very goofy game. And they're playing whatever new video game they've got, and they get sucked into the video game. And there's an evil villain, but the humor, like you're mentioning, is some of it is really funny. Like the villain in this game is named Dota. And one of the characters goes, "Wait a minute, is that League?" Never mind.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like it's stuff like that. They clearly these developers have played video games, and there's even some retro. Like the console looks like the old top loader NESs.
Oh, okay.
Remember those?
Big throwback.
So like that was kind of fun. And then you get sucked into this world, and you have to basically go through a 2D stage from A to B. But there's 5 stages, and each one you play as one of the characters. So like and each character plays vastly different. They all have a completely different attack. They all have a completely different jump mechanic. Like one's really floaty, one's hardly jumps at all. So
that's an interesting level of effort to put into a short game.
Yes. Now, and I'm going to say a statement that's going to make me sound like I'm talking down about this game, and a little bit, but it's mostly just to kind of get you an idea of the feel of the game. The way I described this to Mike, who was watching me play this, is this feels like a student film if it were a video game.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? What
I understand exactly.
Like it feels like someone was trying some experimental stuff as a developer and put this together. And I don't mean that to sound as negative as it sounds, because it's clearly like a $12 game or whatever, and it's an hour long. I appreciate what they've done, like I said, with the different jumping mechanics and everything, but each stage literally has a timer on it that says 5 minutes. So there's like each stage is that.
So it's very, very old school in that way.
Very old school. It feels like you're playing an old school NES game, like one I would have rented from the store and like ran through on an afternoon, not a weekend.
Well, I feel like based on the trailer, that's the vibe they would have been going for.
I think so, and if that's the case, well done. Like you've got this, but and they tried to put some replayability into it in terms of, okay, now there's a speedrun mode and there's a boss rush. Oh no, actually the boss rush isn't a mode. It's actually part of the main story, which I'll get to in just a second. But they've got a collectathon. Like there's certain hidden items that you have to find, and it kind of doesn't grade you, but it lists you what you've got. But none of those are tied to achievements. I got all the achievements in the game. I'm playing this on Xbox. Got them all in the game just by beating the game.
Rookie move, right, for achievement fans.
For achievement fans, yes. It'll literally take you 45 minutes to an hour to get all the achievements, and that is before you get to the second half of the game. Because, and this is actually the reason why we busted out Super Ghouls and Ghosts, because this game does Super Ghouls and Ghosts kind of things, like you have to go up this ladder and jump up here to make a chest appear down here. And then you go down there and you get the chest, and that's one of the hidden chests, right? And it also does a thing where you get to the end, you get to the boss is not beatable. And then it says...
Oh, you have to go find the item?
And then you have to go through the entire game again as each stage, but this time it lets you cycle through the 5 characters and you can play as any one of them. And they actually like change the design of the levels to make it easier to switch between characters.
That's fun.
So it is fun. It's really clever what they did. I just personally don't have a whole lot of desire to go back and do it again. Like, it was a sit down, and I did it in an afternoon, and Mike was like, wait, you already beat that? You know what I mean? It was... Oh, and the bosses, by the way, very easy. Like, the trailer makes it look like, it's going to be some fun, intense boss fights. I thought you liked
easy bosses.
I do, but these are so easy. Like, there's one boss, literally, I just stood in one place and pressed attack the entire time, and it was dead in 9 seconds. Like, it was... I don't know if I just had the right character.
Say so less easy and more boring?
I mean, there was one that was like a snake boss that kind of went around, but I just found the exploits are so easy to figure out. I mean, there's not a whole lot of figuring it out, but the levels themselves are interesting. Like I said, the attacks are different. The jumping feels vastly different for each one, but they all have like a special power as well, like a magic power. But there's no magic gauge. You just have to use it. Like the cat. You charge up, and then when you release it, he is on the ceiling, and now you're running along the ceiling, but as soon as you jump, he jumps off. So there are some places that are impassable. You have to jump on the ceiling and then get there. You know, there's pockets of really clever gameplay, but it never goes the extra mile and really takes advantage of those mechanics.
Well, it doesn't sound like it's lasts long enough to use those in engaging ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This feels like a good step, and they actually do... They do something at the end to open it up. I really thought they were going to go, they're going to make me go through this game a third time, but no, they were setting up for a second game. And they actually even say in that dialogue, well, I guess we'll have to see how well this game sells.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You know what I mean? So it's a very tongue-in-cheek, very self-aware of what it is. But it's cute, but there's just not enough to recommend running out and buying it right away.
Yeah,
like this
makes sense.
I don't mean to talk down about Shin Yuden or anything, because I think what they've done here is some good work. It just, like I said, it feels like a student project, that like a decent student project. But I feel like I'm talking negatively about it. But
well, I mean, you're allowed to. First of all, if you want to talk negatively about something. Secondly, it doesn't feel like that negative, because you're pretty, like, it seems like it has a good foundation. It just doesn't actually get to like a full game feeling.
Right. But the jumping itself also just, I'm so used to solid platformers, and like, again, I was talking about how good the mechanics were in the RBRs that I've been playing. Like, even like Hades, like, that's just so slick. Then I come play this and I feel like I'm coming back to, I mean, it's called Retro Revengers. You know what I mean? It's clearly going after that retro aesthetic, which includes the gameplay. So it's intentional. It's not like a weakness of the game. That's what they're going for. But going from a game that controls so slick and solid to something where I feel like I'm playing an old licensed platformer that was just trying to sell copies in the 80s. You know what I mean?
Sure, of course. Yeah.
But it doesn't look that good. I mean, it has the modern feel. Like, it doesn't have the Nintendo like slowdowns when there's lots of enemies on the screen and everything. But everything is so easy to figure out and so simple to I mean, don't get me wrong, I died, but mostly because I was trying to hurry. Like, I was like, I want to get to the end of this. I was trying to get through it. But it's still fun, just not a hardcore recommend. Fair enough. So those are the games we've been playing. Let's go ahead and move on and remind everybody. I already talked about Facebook. We do have a new member over on Discord by the name of Kron1964, so welcome to the community over there. And also want to remind everybody about our website, thegamingoutsider.com. We got some new reviews up there. I would love it if you guys check those out. Sean's review of Imagine Earth, Alyssa's review of Sunlight Scream, Mark's review of Nuke Them All, and Joel's review of TMNT Arcade Wrath of the Mutants. You can check all those out on the website. And there's links in those, by the way, to the previous to the episodes where we talked about it. So if you want to hear us talk about it there, you can as well. Let's go ahead now and jump into our From the Outside In topic. For this week's From the Outside In topic, it's another one from the brainchild of Zach. We're going to discuss novels based on video game properties. We've talked about nonfiction in the past, or books where we learned about video game development in some way. Those are what I gravitate towards more. In doing this research, I was like, wow, I've read a lot more nonfiction than I've read fiction.
Well, that is an interesting... Game development is such an interesting thing to get insight into.
Right, I agree. But we're talking about like full-on fictional stories centered in familiar universes that we normally see in our favorite video games. So, I mean, I kind of answered this for myself already, but do you read a lot of novelizations of video game stories?
I actually really didn't realize how many I did read until I was dating my fiance when she pointed out, like, Jesus, how many of these things have you read?
Oh, really? So, yeah this is going to be more about you because I've read, like, one. I couldn't find a second one that I read. Really? Actually, no, I did have one other one.
Let me guess. Rapture?
Rapture is one.
Rapture's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I read a bunch of these. Like I read a bunch of the Assassin's Creed ones back when those were coming out, or you know, I feel like because there was one Mass Effect book I think came out before the game even did.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I remember because it was about Saren and kind of his defection.
Mm-hmm.
I remember reading that. Or
it's a villain from the first game, right?
Yeah, he's great, villain. You know, or the Dragon Age books. There's a bunch of these. I read, I guess, a lot of these.
Yeah.
But you know, they are of varying quality. But I think for me, it just, you know, you get a little more insight into whatever the world is that you're interested in. But it's also just like I like reading, you know. But I feel like it can be hard to find new books you're interested in.
Yeah,
because they don't have the marketing apparatus of other industries. Mm-hmm. You know, it's hard to visualize a book.
Yeah,
to make an ad.
Can't judge a book by its cover.
But then all they can tell you on is with the cover.
Yeah, exactly.
So
get a sample.
yeah, but those, you know, whatevs. But with gaming books, it's like a built-in, like, oh yes, I know this property. I like Marcus Phoenix. Let me check this out and do it out in some new setting or whatever. And it's just an easy way to find something to read. Yeah,
I admit I do not read a lot of these. Like I mentioned at the top of this, any video game stuff is usually nonfiction, which is weird because you'd think I'd be more into the fiction.
I mean, I am surprised you haven't read more.
I was too, actually. I thought I had, and I came up with two. And one of them I don't even think is based on, we'll get to that in a second, but I feel like mine was a book before it was a game, but I'm not certain.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so we'll get there. But yeah, like going through the list, I was like, holy cow, there's books based on that? Now I'm like going to load up my Audible account. and
right, there's a lot more than you would think, right?
There's a lot more than you would think. And there's a couple of them, one on my list that actually was the creator of the game was involved, and I had no idea it existed. And I'm like, okay, I need to read that one.
I'm very interested in that.
Yeah. So before we get to the ones that do exist, what's a video game that you would love to see adapted into a book that maybe isn't already?
To see more of the world.
Yeah.
You know what? I had this thought, but it's because I'm playing Gestalt. But like an Iconoclast book, like a novelized version of that world, I think it'd be really cool. Maybe see more of like the four mothers.
And more fleshed out.
Yeah, because I mean, you see a lot of good stuff in the game. It's just like, that's such a cool setting.
It was. And I feel like that's a setting that doesn't match. And I don't mean this in a bad way, because it works in the game, but you wouldn't think that kind of gameplay would have that kind of story. You know what I mean? Like, but I do want to take a deeper dive into that or revisit it. Like, these are things that I wish existed when I was a kid because I was super into games. But all we got as kids were like the scholastic stuff. You know, like, oh, here's a book based on Mario, and it's just like a graphic novel, which is fine.
Yeah.
But there were no novels.
Were there Mario ones?
Mario, like, graphic novel stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one. I've got one in my classroom.
Okay, that's cool.
Well, I mean, I don't know about when I was a kid, but they exist now.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
It's more like humorous. You know, it's not like a super serious story, but
yeah, but it's still.
My kids pass it around all the time and actually like wore it out. There's a Link one. Or is that a coloring book? I feel like it was a graphic novel, but
a coloring book would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's my answer for everything, so I try to avoid Zelda. So I actually didn't put it on my list.
You're allowed to say Zelda.
I try not to. I mean, clearly. But I mean, how are you going to have a book where the main character never talks?
Well, you just make him talk. It's pretty easy. It's just like, I don't know if you've read any of the Zelda mangas, but he talks in those.
That's true. I actually own all those, and I've never read them.
You read all the Twilight Princess ones?
I didn't read all of them, no. I didn't read
But isn't
any
it's like 15 volumes, right?
Yeah. I've got like the box set or whatever.
Oh, okay. Right. Why am I asking this question? What a stupid
It's sealed, hasn't been opened.
Yeah, never read, of course. A nice unloved book.
Yeah. Well, I've never read a manga. I don't know how I would handle reading it right to left. Or, where you know what I mean? Does it take long to shift?
I believe in your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I trust in you.
I just wonder how many times of me going, oh crap, would it take before I'm like...
Well, they usually at the back of a manga, they'll give you a warning like, hey, you're reading this the wrong way.
Yeah.
Because they know.
Well, I'm not talking about the starting. Obviously, I'm going to start it. But I mean, once I'm going... Actually, I haven't read a physical book in a while, so maybe I'm just talking out of my butt right now.
Oh my God, do you remember how to read?
Yes, I remember how to read.
Hey, I don't know.
Something like Riker berating Worf on First Contact. You do remember how to arm phasers, right?
Oh my God.
I just watched that movie recently.
I didn't realize you were such a Star Trek fan to be referencing this.
I've been rewatching the Star Trek movies with my wife, and I watched that one and Nemesis. I watched those recently. Okay. I still like those movies. They're a lot cheesier than I remember, but I still like them.
I feel like people hated Nemesis, right? When it came out?
Did they? I like Nemesis.
Maybe I missed it. Is that Tom Hardy?
No, Tom Hardy. Nemesis was Tom Hardy. I'm sorry, I didn't misspeak. What's the one with the Nexus? With Ian McDowell. Where he's like trying to have a time travel element and
got nothing.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I hate to let you down.
It's all right.
All right.
I love Next Generation, but
growing up, I've always wanted some Final Fantasy novels to read.
I have one on my list, one in particular, but
what was I say? Do they? Because I know that they've started doing some.
Mm-hmm.
They know they did one for Final Fantasy 15.
Mm-hmm.
It was like what the DLC plans were essentially.
Oh, I didn't know that
as a novel. But in terms of like as each Final Fantasy came out, 7, 8, 9, I'm sure they do for 7 at this point. Like, wouldn't it have been cool to have like a book about Shinra, maybe?
Oh, dude, yeah.
Or
just the inner, like just a random employee of Shinra that's not evil, that is like,
yeah, that'd be interesting.
That's like working there and stuck working there, and then learns all this evil stuff about Shinra.
Or like for 9 in particular, I always want to know everything. Like I just want like the events of that game's story, but from Kuja's perspective, the bad guy, because he goes through quite a transformation, but it's mostly off screen because we're seeing everything through our party's eyes.
Right.
So I'd love to see like when he learned the thing that made him go crazy. Like I would love to know every step of his thought process.
Okay,
but I don't have.
I'm not super familiar with that story.
I understand. Or like, well, imagine like a Final Fantasy VIII book that was like Cypher was the main character.
That's what was my list.
Oh, really?
I had Final Fantasy VIII. Like I kind of want to, like how Ender's Shadow or Ender's Game does like the other book that is Ender's Shadow.
Yes, yeah.
Where it's from Bean's perspective. I want that, but from Cypher's perspective.
I think that would be awesome. Actually,
that's exactly what I wanted.
Well, I hate to jump in there on you.
No. Like I know a lot of people hate on that game, but I really liked 8. I liked the idea of 8, like this school and Squall and Cypher just at each other, and then he winds up being like partnering with Ultimecia, doesn't he?
Right. Yeah,
I want to hear that whole story from his perspective because he's a pretty bad dude, but he's also just a student.
Well, he's also just like. With the movies he grew up with, Cypher, remember, he's like obsessed with the idea of being like a knight protecting a princess.
Yeah.
So he finally gets his chance with Ultimecia, essentially.
Right. So, which isn't like ultimately evil.
Exactly. No, like it usually is a good thing.
Right.
An honorable thing.
Yeah. Because he does have that like smirky, I'm better than you look to him, but he's also just a dude that wants to do what's right. He just chose the wrong side.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think so.
So I would love to see that fleshed out. It's funny that we both had the similar thought. Yeah, I want that in a book.
Well, each Final Fantasy is such an interesting universe. It's a shame that it's not a shame. Well, they get used once, right, and then they're thrown away, which is part of the appeal because it almost always leaves you wanting a little bit more of that universe. But a book might be a good way to see more of that without having to do a Final Fantasy X-2 situation or a Lightning trilogy.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even bother with the second 2 games in that series.
And I love 13.
Or do like a companion novel like before the game comes out, kind of like, I know this is a movie, but Kingsglaive from Final Fantasy 15, where they like, so you're like kind of familiar with the universe before you jump into it and play it.
That'd be cool.
Would be cool. Like I would love to like the Final Fantasy 17. Give me a novel that I can listen to learn about the world, because each world, like you said, is uniquely different, and then I can go in and feel like I'm a part of it without jumping in fresh.
Right. Or like Final Fantasy 16 has such a rich history to its universe. It'd be nice to see, like, give me some stories before even Clive exists.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that'd be cool. I'd be into that.
Like, imagine, like, if before Star Wars had come out, you had gotten a book about the Old Republic, like the Knights of the Old Republic story, thousands of years before. I don't know how those relate as much.
Or like even like a novel like Emperor, like the Emperor's Rise to Power or something like that would have been cool, you know.
Well, I mean, we got that in the movies
eventually.
Later, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What I was saying at the time.
Yeah, I saw a meme the other day that was at the Jedi Council, and Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan was like, why are the movies start with 4, 5, and 6, and then go 1, 2, 3, and then 7, 8, 9? And Yoda goes, "Charge in order of films, was I?" And it's like, oh, yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, what a dad level Star Wars joke that is.
Yeah, my apologies, but I couldn't help it. I just thought that was really funny. What other ones did you have that you'd like to see adapted?
Well, so Darksiders has had a couple novels.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think there's Darksiders 2 especially had one.
We already said we wanted a Zelda one, so.
Yeah, but I'm saying I want more. I want. I see what you did there. Yeah, they actually just took the script from the Zelda manga and just transposed it.
Had the same icons and everything.
But I just love the Darksiders universe so much that I want more. Okay. I'm always wanting more. So give me some more novels, guys. You know, if you're not going to make more games, let's do that.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a bunch I'm not that I wasn't thinking of. But you know, I was kind of busy this weekend.
That's okay. I had one other one.
Yeah.
I want a novel. I want a novel to hear Cave Johnson's backstory.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because like you just get little snippets, right? And like how he just like slowly descends into madness.
So it's kind of like it will also kind of be an Aperture Science. Book, right?
Like I just want Aperture Science, like a story from there, because I mean I do and I don't, because I kind of like that mystery when you're playing Portal 2 that you don't really know exactly what happened, you're just getting bits and pieces.
Fair enough.
But I feel like it's been long enough that I want to go back and like have a full-fledged story about that. Like that would be fun, I think.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorite novels based on video game series that you would recommend to me? Where do I start? And to our listeners.
Oh man, so obviously Rapture is exceptional, right? That's like a gold standard of video game novels.
I mean, it's hard for me to say that's the best one I've read because it's one of the only ones I've read, but that is genuinely interesting to go back to learn about the downfall of Rapture. Because you know, when you get into Rapture, it's been like you're at the cusp of its worst, right? But
it's such a setting that you wish you could see in its prime. Yeah. Right, and you do through the novel Rapture.
And you even see it before its prime. You learn about how it was constructed and some of the science behind constructing it.
Yeah, that's true. And how Andrew Ryan kind of kept it a secret and everything.
Yeah, and he wasn't an a-hole like at the beginning. He just had a vision. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, he truly believed in what he was doing, but as always, power corrupts. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've heard that. And Frank Fontaine in there messing stuff up, of course.
Well, and I don't want to like spoil it, but like Frank Fontaine's transformation is sly. Yeah. Like he's a really fun character to despise.
Definitely. Yeah. The Years of War novels, I feel like I've talked about several times, but they're written by Karen Traviss, who, if you're a Star Wars book fan, wrote a lot of the New Jedi Order stuff that focus around Boba Fett.
Oh, okay.
So she's good at writing cool guys, I guess.
Oh, really?
But Gears of War, the novels really go into like the Pendulum Wars, right before the Locust Horde. You learn a lot about Dominic's brother, who is friends with Marcus. And so you learn how Marcus and Dom became such tight, like ride or die brothers almost, you know?
Yeah, which is what we're going to get with the new game,
I guess that's true, yeah, E-Day. Yeah, actually, like, it's hard to remember which book is what based on the names. Yeah. They kind of blend together, but yeah, there's definitely a book that a lot of it is about E-Day. So I'm gonna guess they're gonna pull, much like the Halo Reach game pulled from the Halo novel Fall of Reach. I feel like E-Day is gonna pull a lot from.
Yeah, but are you gonna have to know? Have you gonna have to have read the book to get the references?
You didn't for Halo Reach, did you?
Not for Halo Reach, but I did for Halo 5 or Halo Infinite.
Well, yeah, that was a whole other. That's no good.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't want that to happen with Gears.
No, I don't think so. I think it'll just take some ideas from there. I think if you know the book, be like, hey, I remember that happening. You know what I mean? No, it's not like a Halo 4 thing where like you don't know who the villain is if you didn't read the novel that came out before, which is stupid as hell.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we're going to worry about that. But the Gears of War novels are very well written, very interesting. You learn a lot of interesting stuff about the world. I think the setting is great in Gears of War, and I think you learn more through those. Another one that came to mind right away was Assassin's Creed 3. All the Assassin's Creed novels, at least the first, because I stopped reading them when I stopped playing the games, obviously. Mm-hmm. But they usually take an interesting viewpoint into the events of the game. Mm-hmm. And like 3 in particular is you learn more about Hatham before he joined the Templars, and after that opening section of the game, and you switch over to Connor. Yeah, the novel stays locked onto Hatham, and you learn everything he was up to while we're playing as Connor.
That's what we wanted from Final Fantasy VIII.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, but it's great because if you play Assassin's Creed 3, he and Connor don't always get along, right? They have different interests for America, right? And you learn more about him and his feelings about Connor's mother, and how he's like torn between duty and like the idea of doing the right thing for the world versus like maybe he does kind of want a family, but ultimately we know which choice he makes, but you see him wrestling with those decisions.
You're making me want to replay Assassin's Creed 3.
Well, I think Assassin's Creed 3 has a sophisticated story, but yeah, I know not everyone agrees. But all the Connor stuff's great, and the novel helps flesh out. Like, that's just a cool idea. Like, what was Hatham? Especially because you play as him, so you get kind of attached to him. Well,
yeah, like, in that twist, like, when you're like, what? I've been playing as the bad guy the whole time? Like, it feels like... Because that was the thing that threw me off at the beginning. I was like, wait a minute, aren't I playing... I thought I was playing as a Native American dude or whatever.
Right, yeah, where's the guy from all the marketing?
Yeah, and in hindsight, I should have seen that coming. Right?
Well, I don't know about you, but I just got so wrapped up into Hatham's story that I was like, yeah, I'm sure we'll get to Connor eventually. I didn't know it was going to be like 6 hours of Hatham or whatever.
Yeah, it was like, that was one of the first times where I didn't see the title card for the game for hours. That was the first time that it happened, and now I feel like it happens a lot more with not even, other games outside of the Assassin's Creed series. But I had that on my list of ones that I haven't got around to reading yet. Yeah. Because I've not read any of those, but I almost want a novel, and maybe this exists, but I want an Assassin's Creed novel that doesn't even focus on the stuff inside the Animus, that just does Desmond.
Yeah, I wish that did exist.
Like all the stuff that happened in the games, but fleshed it out. I know a lot of people hated the Desmond stuff because they were like just detracted from what they wanted to do in an Assassin's Creed game. Yeah. But I was one of the few that like was invested in that story, especially the way it starts with the first Assassin's Creed game.
Well, I mean, that's part of what led me away from the series, because I was so invested in that overall story, and they obviously stopped caring. Yeah. But I know there are I think there are some YA novels, like young adult novels, that focus on like teens fighting against Abstergo or something like that. Like I think it's Desmond's son he didn't know he had. Oh, is that standard trope? You know. Yeah. And I think he might kill Juno. I don't know if this is spoilers or not. I'm so vaguely familiar with this stuff. Yeah. But I do know Juno gets dealt with in either a graphic novel or like a kid book, which is insane after the threat she posed. Right. The whole original 5 games are building up to her as a threat, and then it gets dealt with off game. Yeah. That's so stupid.
By some teenagers.
By some teens saving the world. Yeah. Nonsense. But yeah, so the Assassin's Creed novels, high recommendation. Okay. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, and I think those are the best ones that come to mind.
Okay. I had one other one besides Rapture, but again, I think that the book was written before the game. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Shadows of the Empire.
They were released alongside together.
They were together? Yeah. Okay. Because I was obsessed with the game. And I bought the book and read the book, and I bought the soundtrack. There was a soundtrack for the book, which was like...
Well, it was for the whole cross-media thing, because there was also a comic book.
Right. I actually had one issue of the comic book. Oh, okay. Remember, it was a Dark Horse comic.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, but the game, the comic book, and the novel all tell different viewpoints on the same story.
Okay. So it kind of counts.
Yeah, I think so. I see how you got there.
Yeah. But that was the only one I could think of that I had actually read, which is weird. With as much as I love reading and as much as I love video games, you'd think I would have read more novelizations of games, but that's all I got.
Yeah. The Darksiders 2 novel is very good. But you know what you just reminded me of? Shadow Empire?
Shadow Empire? Or
the chair game?
I don't remember that one.
Oh, I'm sorry, Shadow Complex. I apologize.
Shadow Complex.
But it messed me up because the book's name is Empire. Oh. And it's in the same universe. But what's interesting is Chair was making a game called Empire, And then Orson Scott Card, because he worked with him on Advent Rising, he was like, "Oh, this is so great! I got to write a book based on your setting. This is great. This is because the story of the Shadow Complex that it doesn't kind of go into is that it's a civil war between Democrats and Republicans."
I don't remember that.
Yeah, because they don't really go into it in the game.
That's prophetic as Idiocracy.
Yeah, you're not kidding. But Empire is about that civil war more so. But then the Empire game got canceled, but then got kind of rebooted as Shadow Complex. But it wrapped around to still be in the same setting. So it's this weird, unique situation where Shadow Complex is technically based on the book Empire, but Empire wouldn't exist unless it was based on the video game in development named Empire.
That is complicated.
Isn't it? But it's such a weird little fun story.
It is.
But the book is great.
Okay.
You know, as long as I think Orson Scott Card is bad at dialogue. But as long as you look past that, which you kind of have to do I have to do for Scott Card, because I feel like the stories are interesting. But the story is very interesting. You know, probably not something you want to read today. The civil war between Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah, right. It'd make you a little nervous.
Yeah, might be a little too close to home.
Speaking of Orson Scott Card, have you ever read Treasure Box?
I have not.
I read it when I was in high school, and I remember really liking it, but I can't hardly recommend it because I don't even remember what it's about, but I remember liking it when I was younger. Yeah. And just because I was such an Ender's Game fan, I wanted to read more Orson Scott Card that wasn't Ender's Shadow or Shadow of the Hegemony or all that.
Have you read all the Ender books? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in deep.
Well, no, there is some weird ones that where Ender wasn't even involved at all that I didn't read, but any ones with Ender in it I did. Oh, okay. So I was I was at the perfect age, was a teenager when I read those, and I felt like I didn't grow up with Ender. I wasn't a child. I mean, I was by definition, but I just really related to Ender as a character that I felt like he grew up, and I don't know, I just really liked him. So
that makes a lot of sense. The last one, most Dragon Age books are great.
Okay.
I think I'm checked out of Dragon Age as a property.
Not gonna play the new one?
I don't think so.
No.
I've tried to get excited about it by watching different stuff, reading different stuff.
Yeah.
Everything they're saying is I think I'm good.
Okay.
But a lot of those books are great. A lot of them, they go into the backstory of the world because the setting is so great in Dragon Age. And those are all wonderful. If you're excited about the new Dragon Age, maybe check out some of those books.
Okay.
What about you, Scott? You got any recommendations?
No, I just gave you my two.
Oh, okay.
That's all I've got.
That's right. You did warn me about that.
What about ones that you know exist but haven't got around to reading yet that you'd like to?
Well, I bought the Banner Saga novel.
Oh, really? I didn't know that existed.
Yeah, well, I think there's two of them that the staff wrote, and then they had a fan writing contest, and they compiled a bunch of fan written short stories in the universe and kind of canonized them.
That's a fun way to do that,
which I think is super cool.
Yeah.
But I bought the first one. Haven't read it yet, but I'm very excited to do so. Boy, I had more, and now I feel like.
No, it's okay. I'll go through my list if that's all right then.
Yeah.
A bunch of these I didn't even know existed until I started trying to look up some of these. I'm I gotta have read more than Rapture. There's got to be something I've read, and I'm I gotta read that. I didn't know there was novelizations of Metal Gear Solid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the first Metal Gear Solid game, they made a novelization of it.
Did they novelize it back in the day?
I didn't look into it that closely. I actually found it on a Reddit thread, and one person was it's actually really good. So I kind of want to go read that.
Okay.
Especially could you imagine if they get more into Liquid Snake and maybe some backstory behind? Because I feel like you don't even see Liquid until the end of that first game.
Yeah, when you start talking about chromosomes.
Yeah. But I would love to learn how'd they get separated, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, you've jogged my memory, if I may.
Okay.
There's an Alan Wake novelization that I always meant to read.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I assumed you.
I have not read it. So I gotta get on that. And then I just remember that there's a Crimson Skies book.
I saw that.
That I own.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, and I haven't read it yet.
I saw that on a list, and I was I don't know if I want to read that, just because I wasn't as invested in the characters in that game as I was the gameplay.
Yeah, well, for me, the gameplay worked so well because it was such a cool setting.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the book is 3 short stories in that setting.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it sounds super
nice. Cool. The other one is the one I teased about earlier. There's another BioShock book called BioShock Infinite: Mind in Revolt, and it's written by Joel Fielder and Ken Levine, and it's a prequel to BioShock Infinite. So it's not going to be BioShock.
But Ken Levine involvement is certainly interesting.
That made me kind of sit up and go, I need to look into that one.
Huh.
So that was one on my list that I saw that was pretty interesting. Also, there's 2 novels by Brian Evanson based in the Dead Space universe, which I didn't know existed.
Oh, they're really good.
Oh, you did read those?
Yeah, one of them is about Altman.
Remind me.
Like Altman be praised?
Oh, Altman. I thought you said Albin.
Yeah, Altman.
Altman. Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah, dude, that book's great, actually.
I'm going to have to go read that one then. You already mentioned Gears of War. That was on my list. And then, I don't know if you've ever even heard of this game, but there was a LucasArts point-and-click adventure game called The Dig.
Yes, yeah.
And I've learned there's a book based on that, and I've never played the game because I never got it, and I feel like I can't now because I don't have a mouse. I have a Steam Deck, and I can't play point-and-click adventures on the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
So,
not comfortably, I'm sure you can.
Right, and I can't play it on a Mac, so I have literally no way to play those games, even though I always wanted to since I was a kid. And but that story, I don't know even what it's about for sure, but it seems really interesting. I was sold on the trailer when I was a kid, and I wanted to, so I feel like the only way to experience that story now is to listen to the novelization. So
you may as well.
Yeah, that's what we thought of the topic. Let's go to the community. I've got one from. There's not a whole lot of responses, but Sean wrote in. Sean Coates. He says, I'm actually currently reading, or rather listening to, Far Cry Absolution. It's a prequel novel to Far Cry 5, which you haven't played yet.
Sure haven't.
The story focuses on 2 interwoven narratives of a couple NPC characters, including Mary May, the woman who runs that bar in town, which acts as the Resistance HQ of sorts. She's trying to get to the bottom of the mysterious circumstances surrounding her father's death at the hands of the Peggies. I did not remember that was the name of the villain, the enemies in that game.
I certainly wouldn't know.
He also goes on to say, it's also cool that familiar faces from the game make appearances, and we see more of their backstories and motivations for taking down the cultists before the player character gets involved. Yeah, I would have put this on my list if you weren't going to write about it.
You know, I don't know if this exists or not, but a Homefront novel would be awesome.
Oh, yeah, dude, that's a good call.
Like, that's such a great setting and setup.
There was a lot of eerie moments in that game, like when you're crawling across bodies and stuff.
Yeah, or you get hide in a corpse pile.
Yeah. The game was okay, but there were those moments that I thought were really. Was that the game where they released balloons in the San Francisco Bay?
And
everybody got really mad.
Yeah, that absolutely happened.
Yeah,
but Homefront. Yeah, I was really taken with that premise.
Mm-hmm.
This Sean, you also reminded me. Ubisoft is good for this generally, releasing tie-in novels. I can't believe I didn't talk about Splinter Cell books. Oh, I didn't know those existed. They're not written by Tom Clancy, although they always have Tom Clancy written in huge giant font on the cover.
Yeah.
They're all written by pseudonym authors. But the first few were they're basically just techno thrillers. They're very Tom Clancy-esque.
Mm-hmm.
They just happen to have more Sam Fisher.
Oh, okay.
Which is fine by me.
Yeah.
And you learn more about his wife and his daughter plays a bigger role. And they're all just really really kind of, I guess airport novels, right? Is that the term for books you just kind of read and you're done with?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very much in that styling. I remember the first, they're just more Splinter Cell missions. A lot of fun.
Like a non-Western Louis L'Amour book?
Yeah, I guess so. or who's a David Baldacci or the Jack Reacher, just kind of like a fun, quick thriller.
Yeah.
That's very much what they are.
I haven't read those, but I've heard they're really good.
Yeah. Is in that style. I know there's one on there was a Splinter Cell Conviction novel where it was 2 agents trying to hunt down Sam Fisher.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was pretty cool because remember he's on the run at that point from Third Echelon, and that was a really cool take on it. Yeah. You
want to read the next? Or did you just take the next 2? Because mine was.
Where are the Prince of Persia novels?
Wow, I didn't think of that.
Yeah. Anyway. Rob Cagno writes in, I'd like to read the Gears of War and Mass Effect books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can only speak to that first Mass Effect book, but I actually re-listened to it last year, and it was still very good. Because it's also about Anderson. Captain Anderson, voiced by Keith David.
Yeah.
Because he was supposed to be the first Spectre,
but
then Saren screwed him over on a mission, and they blamed it on him.
Oh.
And so you get to learn about that mission.
Okay, cool.
Which is cool.
Kind of like in what's the one thing they talked about in Star Wars Episode 2 or 3, where that's twice you saved my life. Well, 4 if you count the time on whatever mission.
Oh yeah, the Clone Wars banter.
Yeah. I don't remember what the line exactly was, but I was like, I want to know what happened on that mission.
Yeah, so I guess this is
or is that reference in the Clone Wars or something?
It might be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Someone will write in and correct me.
Here's a video game novel to avoid.
Yeah?
Star Wars Revan.
Revan, from the Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah, based on Knights of the Republic. It's like a sequel to the game, so therefore it has to canonize certain decisions. Terrible.
Oh, okay.
That's a bad way to do it.
Okay.
But it's written by the guy who co-wrote the game, so it's kind of disappointing that it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
But avoid that.
Okay.
Jumping over to Discord. Do you want?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I read the last one, so I didn't know.
No, yeah, I said go ahead and take the next two.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Discord. Thomas Bex writes in, back in the day before digital purchases, boxes often came with novellas in them. If that counts, then I've read quite a few. One that always stuck me through is one that came with the original Elite on the C64. That story really got me into the mood of the game.
Again, I think that comes back to I want a companion novel before I play the game.
Oh, I like this. I mean, this idea of a game coming with a book is cool.
Right, but if it comes with the game, I'm just going to jump into the game.
Sure, but maybe it's set up in a way, where they're complementary. So if you're reading it alongside playing it, it kind of just adds to each other. That could happen.
Or if you're a kid and the book is short enough that you can read it on the ride home when your mom brings you back from the store when you bought the game.
Yeah, that'd be
cool. You know what I mean? Like remember when we were a kid reading the instruction manual in the car, and then when you it was just, what's this game? How does it work? Maybe that was just a me thing when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I'm coming back from the NES era when the instruction manuals were works of art.
No, I mean I was alive for that era.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I remember reading instruction manuals. And I didn't talk about the Nier novels.
I'm shocked you didn't, because I saw those on the list. I was like, well, those are going to get talked about.
Well, there's one, I think it's called Yorha Boys. That was the one that was the most interesting to me because it was a new story.
Yeah.
It was about an all-male unit of... Because if you play Nier Automata, a lot of them are sexy ladies.
Mm-hmm.
But they used to have the Yorha project used to have different divisions of all-female or all-male soldiers to see how they operated.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out women look out for each other a lot better than men do.
Oh.
Not surprised to hear this.
Yeah.
But Yorha Boys is a really exciting premise, but the translation is so poor of the novel. It's just these short, stilted sentences with no flavor at all. And you really appreciate the difference between a translation and a localization.
Right.
Because this is not made better for the English language at all.
Mm.
So the book is pretty disappointing in that regard.
I wonder if someone can tackle that and do a better job.
Square Enix, they translate their own books now. So they put out a Nier Replicant novel a couple years ago, or maybe even last year. And it's really just a novelization of the game's events. But I remember buying it just for the collection.
Yeah.
You understand. Wearing the Zelda shirt here in front of me.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But I was like, I'll check it out. But I ended up reading the whole thing, even though I've played the story 100 times, because it was just written so well. It was just kind of interesting to get that perspective.
Well, it's good to hear it was written well for you.
So I can't remember. That was but in those novels, I cannot remember the name right now. But it's recollection files. But they have little chapters from Devil and Popeless perspective of what they're up to during the course of the game. You probably don't even remember these characters. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We're the people in charge of Nier's village. They become important characters later on in the game's events. But you see what they were up to during the game, and that's very important, and it helps flesh some stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool.
Cool. Well, thanks for the topic idea, Zach. That was a lot of fun, and I've got a lot of recommendations now.
You got a lot of stuff to read. You gonna read those Nier novels?
No, not those. But I've got 4 or 5 credits left on my Audible sitting there waiting for me.
You should download the first Gears one.
Maybe.
I think it's called Anvil's Gate, maybe. That might be a later one. I'll find out what the first one is for you.
All right, come back to me. We don't know what we're going to talk about next week. We haven't determined what that topic will be, so stay tuned to social media. We'll definitely post that on Facebook and Twitter and Discord and all that good stuff. But I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. Again, apologize if this sounds different or if the quality is not as good. We did the best we could. We're not in a studio. We're literally sitting in an office with a microphone sitting between us.
I assume it's okay.
I hope so. But the episode was produced by Kevin Honigford. All the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Metroid Metal. His website is stemagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concerns. Our address is feedback@thegamingonster.com. What about you, Zach? Any parting recommendations for our listeners?
Honestly, all of my free time that's not been video games has been Arrested Development. So it's just it's just all consumed my life back over, which is fine by me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's still one of the best sitcoms ever made. Well, it is the best. But
okay. For me, I was introduced to a movie that I've kind of avoided over the years because I saw the first one, which was the original Mad Max, and I thought that movie was just severely okay.
Yeah, that's about right for Mad Max.
And so I never... well, here's what happened, is I watched Fury Road.
Incredible.
And I was like, this is awesome. I want to go back and revisit all of this stuff. So I started with Mad Max, and I just thought the movie was whatever. Like, it just did nothing for me, so I stopped. Mike, who, again, I'm at his house this weekend, learned that fact and forced me to sit down last night to watch Road Warrior.
Yeah.
So we watched Road Warrior, and that was a shockingly entertaining movie.
Yeah, that's my favorite Mad Max.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like even over Fury Road?
Over Fury Road, yeah.
Wow, okay. Man, Fury Road just was a spectacle.
Fury Road is an incredible motion picture. It's one of the best action movies ever made. I like the kind of, I guess, the pacing of Road Warrior more.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like slower, and Max kind of like drifts into town and helps resolve this dispute. Oh, it's good.
And then Mike was telling me all kinds of facts about I didn't know so much about the director, and like how he's 80 now and talking about trying to do another one.
Yeah.
but like the guy that plays Morton Joe in Fury Road is in Road Warrior. So he's in the first one. Yeah. So I thought that was just like kind of fun stuff like that. But
do you mean George Miller, the director of Happy Feet and Happy Feet 2?
Yes. So yeah, Road Warrior, if you have not seen it, is worth going back to. If you were like me and watched Fury Road and said, boy, I want more Mad Max, and then went back and watched Mad Max and was kind of like, okay, maybe not, give Road Warrior a shot. I really enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun.
Did you like Furiosa?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mike told me that he thinks he might like Furiosa better than Fury Road. But
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I mean,
but it is great.
Yeah. So Zach, this was awesome, man. This makes me really wish that we lived closer, because sitting across from you, I feel like the dynamic of this conversation is incredible.
I don't have a clue how long we've gone. You don't have to tell me.
You will be surprised, I will say. But
yeah, dude, Portland's waiting for you.
Yeah.
We could have seen Furiosa together.
We could have. We could see Deadpool and Wolverine next week together. But I don't think that's happening.
No.
Especially with the projects I've got going on in my house. But this has been awesome. Hopefully we get to do this more often than once every 5 years.
Probably not. I don't know. Well,
I think we need to do this. Like, if we all get the four of us together in a room, that would be a lot of fun to do this too. Right. So
you think R2V2 maybe next year? Who knows?
Maybe 2025. We'll
yeah.
Or maybe we'll just do like a live recording, like on a stage, and just have everybody listen to us talk for an hour.
Maybe 4 people can come to the show. That'd be great.
Maybe that'd be amazing. But
do you think we could sell? What's Rockford's biggest theater? Do you think we could sell that out?
Go to BMO.
Yeah, let's sell that bad boy. I don't know.
I don't know, man. If big bands can't sell that, I don't think we could sell that out.
I think maybe you're underestimating us.
I don't think any of us are that popular, man. I would love to be wrong, but anyway. Until next week, I am Scott Clark with Zach Parkerson, and we are the Gaming Outsider. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.